From a rooftop, a man named Derek looks down as his partner, Sylvie, prepares to cast a spell. She yells up at him, "Get ready, Derek." Sylvie shouts her instructions. 30 seconds until the portal's up. Once you're through, you'll only have a few minutes to save them. And remember, don't be in the portal when it closes or... Interrupting her, Derek casually takes a large gulp from his flask, muttering, yeah. He lowers the flask with a sigh of satisfaction. "I've got it, Sylvie," he says, his voice dripping with confidence. He hops down from his perch, landing deftly on the ground below. With a smirk, he reminds her, "This isn't the first time I've had to save your team." Blue lightning crackles around his arm as he powers up. "Go through the portal, save the day, get back before dinner. Easy," he says with a casual wave of his hand. Sylvie can only purse her lips in annoyance, muttering "Tusk, asshole," as purple energy swirls around her. She focuses her power, declaring, "This is it, portal's fully opening." Now clad in armor and wielding a formidable weapon, Derek stands ready. "It's go time," he states, his eyes glowing with power. Without a moment's hesitation, Derek steps into the swirling purple vortex of the portal. But on the other side, the scene is one of utter devastation. A volcanic landscape burns under a red sky, rumbling with destruction. A fellow team member, gasping for breath, lies defeated on the scorched earth. The dimension is overrun with monstrous creatures, including a massive dragon that unleashes a torrent of fire, overwhelming Derek and his team. Looking at the chaos, a bloodied and battered Derek can only mutter in disbelief, Damn it! How did it end up like this?" He holds a fallen comrade, surrounded by an army of monsters in the fiery hellscape, completely outnumbered. Days, years, or decades later, that day still replays in his head over and over again. Now older and scarred, Derek reflects on his past while trapped in a void. It was supposed to be a simple mission. He thinks to himself, "You'd think after years of mastering the system on my own, I'd know better than to try and help people, but old habits die hard." He remembers the desperate pleas from his team. "Get to the portal, Derek. Sylvie can't hold it open much longer." Another teammate had screamed, "We can't leave them," while another urged, "There's no time, go." The memory haunts him. "I was one of the strongest system users on the planet. I thought I could save them all." He recalls fighting his way to the closing portal, a teammate yelling, "Hurry, Derek, the portal's closing," as he desperately proclaimed, "I can save him." He remembers the strain, thinking to himself, "I managed to fight off enough monsters to create an opening. All we had to do was make it through." But his present self scoffs at the memory. "Idiot, look where that got you." The memory continues through the view of Sylvie's portal. He sees himself desperately pulling his injured comrade along. "Get up, I'm getting you out of here," he had urged, to which his friend could only manage a weak "Thank you, Derek." He remembers urging his friend on, "Just keep moving, a little further and we'll be safe." But as Derek is consumed by the memory of his past self, the last word his dying friend uttered echoes in his mind. Liar. In the flashback, a monster's maw lunges through the portal's edge, tearing his teammate apart before his very eyes. "No!" Derek screams in horror as his friend cries out in agony. His face, reflected in the shrinking gateway, is a mask of shock and failure. Shit, he thinks. From inside the chaotic dimension, he watches the portal shrink, with Sylvie visible on the other side, just before it closes completely. The memory fills him with rage and regret. "Why did I even try to help them?" he growls before desperately pleading with his past self. Come on, just a little longer." Trapped in the void, he lunges forward, as if he could still change the past, thinking, "Don't you dare." He screams in defiance of his memory. No. He desperately reaches out, trying to grasp the shrinking portal that exists only in his mind. But it's useless. The portal snaps shut, sealing his fate. His hand clenches into a fist as the memory concludes. Thrown back to the reality of his prison, the shock hits him all over again. What? He stands stunned in the empty void, asking the darkness, what just happened? He gasps, the crushing weight of his abandonment and failure washing over him. He collapses to his knees, his weapon clattering beside him. "Why did this happen to me?" he cries out. "What did I do to deserve it?" He tortures himself with questions. Was it because I wasn't strong enough, or did someone betray me? He shakes his head, grabbing his glaive, trying to push the dark thoughts away. No, my mind's just playing tricks on me again. He forces himself to believe in a rescue that isn't coming, scratching a mark on the ground to track the passing days. Sylvie and the others are probably looking for me right now. They'll open a portal for me, and I'll be able to get out of here. As countless marks fill the space around him, he waits in the vast, empty darkness, clinging to a fading hope. Any day now. But no one came. He reflects, I didn't know if I'd been trapped for months or decades. To survive the endless solitude, he trained. I practiced with my glaive until it became an extension of myself. I meditated for days on end, in an effort to keep myself sane. I trained my body to its peak, growing stronger than I thought possible. He honed his skills, his movements becoming a whirlwind of deadly precision in the silent void. He recalls his endless cycle. I meditated and practiced and trained in the hopes that someday I'd get to see the sun again. Then a sudden unfamiliar sound cuts through the silence, a sharp ding. Derek looks up, confused and alarmed. Huh. A red warning message flashes before his eyes. Error, System DTCTD, the host is moving out of system range. He stares in disbelief. WH what? No. Alarms blare in his mind as error messages flood his vision. Wait. He pleads, a wave of panic rising. You can't do this to me. The system continues its dire warning. Error. Host losing connection with system-controlled area. Please move into system range as soon as possible. He clutches his head, screaming in desperation. It's all I have left. But the final, soul-crushing message appears. Error, system connection lost. Tears of despair stream down his face, the cracks on his skin deepening. Please, don't take my system from me, he begs the empty void. In a fit of rage, he smashes his fists against the walls of his prison. Damn it, he thinks. This place has no escape. Not even from the agony of my own flesh eating itself, as my high vitality stitches me back together. It doesn't matter how strong I become. The cracks in myself keep growing wider, but the ones in the void just slowly disappear. Finally, after an eternity of suffering, he gives in to despair. His eyes, lifeless and broken, reflect his thoughts. I give up. Just let me die. He lets go, his body floating adrift in the endless purple expanse, his weapons slipping from his grasp. I'd lost myself once before and could feel it happening again. I slipped quietly into the darkness until the void called. Something startles him from his descent into nothingness. A fracture appears in the fabric of the void. The call was real, and I answered. He stares at the impossible sight, his mind struggling to accept it. Huh, am I seeing things? A dangerous gleam returns to his eye, which now sparks with a faint blue light. A manic grin spreads across his face as blue energy crackles around him. That's a crack, and it's not reforming. A primal roar of pure, unadulterated will erupts from him as he's engulfed in power. I'm GTTING the fuck out of here. He channels his newfound energy, preparing to unleash it. I don't care where it leads. With a mad laugh, he swings his glaive at the crack. I don't care what's on the other side, ha. He puts all of his strength into the blow, thinking, anything, even death, is better than staying. The crack shatters. But as he breaks through, a monstrous creature greets him on the other side. Huh, what the hell is? Before he can react, the beast unleashes a massive energy blast that engulfs him completely. The force of the explosion sends him hurtling back through the shattered remains of his prison. He rights himself, clad in his transformed armor, a grimace on his face. Certainly doesn't feel like another hallucination. He gazes at the monstrous creature, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. So that's what is strong enough to keep me in my prison. The beast lets out a deafening roar. Unafraid, Derek smirks at the roaring beast. I know it's been a while since I've talked to someone, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you say hello. The monster responds with a guttural snarl, its multiple red eyes glowing with malice. Derek's grin widens, his expression turning feral. So let me be the one to teach you some manners. A dark chuckle escapes him as his own power surges. Besides, I'm starting to wonder how strong I am without my system. He lunges forward, swinging his glaive in a powerful arc, ready to test his limits. The monster counters, gathering a massive ball of destructive energy in its maw. Instead of dodging, Derek meets the attack head-on, smashing his weapon directly into the energy blast. The resulting explosion of energy sends shockwaves through the void. With newfound agility, he dashes and dodges through the chaotic aftermath of the blast. But the beast is relentless, landing a powerful blow that sends him flying. Damn it, he thinks. The impact creates another massive explosion of purple energy. He tumbles uncontrollably through the air, the force of the attack overwhelming him as he grunts in pain. Lying on the ground, he looks up at the monster looming over him and curses, "You big ugly bastard." He groans, pushing himself up from the ground. "Now I'm over 50% sure you aren't a hallucination." Suddenly, a fresh wound on his face catches his attention. Ha! He looks at his gauntlet and sees something he hasn't seen in a very long time. His own blood. I'm bleeding. The sight doesn't bring fear, but a wide, manic grin. The feeling of being truly alive, of being vulnerable, is exhilarating. Hef, make that 100%. He stands, renewed blue lightning arcing around him. And just like that, the fog cleared from my mind. It's been a while since I've bled, he thinks, a newfound resolve solidifying within him. Death is as good an escape as any other. The monster conjures another attack, this one a swirling construct of magical energy. The beast launches its spell, sending it hurtling towards Derek. Derek plants his foot, ready to meet the attack with his full power. He charges forward, his entire journey fueling this one moment, after being trapped for decades. After losing his sanity. After nearly losing his will to live. He pushed himself beyond every conceivable boundary. I surpassed MYLIMITS. With all the power he could muster, he let out a furious roar, either kill me. His final attack met the beasts, creating a cataclysmic explosion of red and blue energy. Or get out of my way, he screamed, his voice filled with decades of pent-up rage. The sheer force of their combined power shattered the very fabric of the void. His prison crumbled around him, the space rumbling and breaking apart. He leaped between the shattered fragments of reality, his escape finally within his grasp. With one final leap, he propelled himself towards freedom, and his eyes, glowing with power and determination, were fixed on his goal. He landed a final, devastating blow on the beast that had guarded his prison. Out, he soared past the defeated monster, leaving the void behind him forever. A wild, unrestrained laugh escaped him, the pure, unfiltered joy of a man who had won back his life. And for the first time in an eternity, he saw the sun once more. Floating in the sky of a new world, he screamed one word, freedom. A short while earlier, a cataclysmic event tore through a peaceful forest, heralding his arrival. A young boy runs frantically through the woods, panting as he looks back. Did I lose it? He wonders, just before a rustle in the bushes proves him wrong. He scrambles away in terror. Crap, he thinks, his heart pounding. I never should have wandered away from the village. Reaching a cliff face, he begins a desperate climb, slipping and struggling. If only I'd waited a few more days. Curse my luck, he laments. He pulls himself over the edge, gasping for breath. But his relief is short-lived. He finds himself trapped at the peak of a mountain with nowhere left to run. The monstrous wolf-like creature appears before him, blocking his only escape. The boy's face falls in utter despair. I'm so dead. He screams, stumbling backward from the terrifying beast. The ground beneath his feet gives way, and the cliff edge crumbles. As the boy falls, the monster leaps, ready to finish him off. The boy cries out in terror, "Somebody help me," as the monster's jaws close in. He plunges into the water below and surfaces, gasping for air, having narrowly escaped the beast's attack. I'm alive, he sputters, clinging to the rocks. But his relief is cut short as he looks up and sees a strange, crackling light in the sky, causing him to cry out in confusion. Whatever it is, it comes crashing down from the heavens with a deafening boom. It hits the water right in front of him with an enormous splash, sending waves and energy everywhere. As the water settles, a towering figure in glowing armor rises, holding a massive glaive. The boy can only cry out in shock and fear at the sudden appearance of his mysterious savior. A young, blonde-haired boy named Thomas is in a state of utter terror, his face pale and covered in a cold sweat as he shudders in fear. Before him stands a menacing figure clad in black armor, radiating a powerful blue aura. Having just escaped one monster, Thomas looks up in despair, crying out, "And now there's a demon." The scene shifts to Derek, whose face and body are covered in cracks, a sign of his torment in the void. Suddenly, a red notification window appears before him, displaying a critical message. Error. INVADING system DETCTED. A close-up on Derek's glowing blue eye shows his confusion and shock. The single word echoes in his mind. What? The system immediately follows up with a new, ominous directive. Eliminating threat. A massive vortex of purple energy forms and fires a beam down towards the coastline where the armored man and Thomas stand. The beam of energy engulfs Derek, who cries out in pain and confusion. Shit, what's going on? From behind a tree, Thomas watches the chaotic scene unfold, his face a mask of pure shock and terror. The purple energy erupts in a massive, blinding explosion, tearing the landscape apart. In the aftermath, the armored figure lies motionless in a crater, surrounded by fractured ground and creeping vines, seemingly defeated. Nearby, an injured wolf-like creature shakes itself off. It's covered in wounds, but it's still standing. A close-up on the wolf's eye reveals its blood-red sclera and glowing yellow pupil, burning with feral intensity. The wolf cautiously approaches the fallen body of Derek and looms over him, assessing the new potential threat or prey. Derek's consciousness drifts in a dark void. He recalls his time there. I was in there for so long, trapped, stripped bare, stretched thin. He continues his lament, his form shattering into pieces within the void. Until I was nothing but broken fragments drifting in the void. Was it all gone? My life before. As his reality fractures like broken glass, he questions everything he ever knew. My system. The fragments of his memory and being continue to drift apart as he wonders, my home, or had it all been just a dream? Back in the forest, the wolf decides to act, sinking its teeth into Derek's armored arm with a vicious bite. But Derek's reaction is anything but normal. Still seemingly half asleep, he groans with annoyance as if being woken from a nap. NGH, stop. 5 more minutes. The wolf is utterly confused by this lack of a fearful response. It chomps down and thrashes its head, trying to get a reaction from its unbothered victim. Instead of screaming in pain, Derek begins to laugh, the strange sensation tickling him. Hee, stop it, that tickles. This bizarre reaction infuriates the wolf, which lets out a furious, guttural growl. Finally, having had enough, Derek's eye snaps open, now filled with irritation. I said stop. In a flash, Derek's hand shoots up and effortlessly grabs the wolf by its snout, his annoyance turning into a show of overwhelming power. He contemptuously smacks the wolf, sending it flying. Thomas, who has been watching the entire exchange, can only stare in disbelief at this display of casual dominance and think, he's a demon. Derek slowly gets up, letting out a heavy sigh of exasperation. His annoyed expression, however, begins to change as he looks over at the whimpering wolf he just threw. In a bizarre turn, Derek's demeanor shifts to one of pure delight. He lifts the wounded, snarling wolf into the air as if it were a prize, exclaiming, "A puppy! Come here, boy." The wolf continues to growl and snarl, but Derek, with a crazed and unsettling smile, seems impressed. "Wow," he says, completely misreading the creature's aggression. Derek looks around at the forest, a strange landscape of withered, twisted trees and unsettling, colorful mushrooms. His gaze falls upon the skeletal remains of a bizarre, bird-like creature decaying on the forest floor. He then notices a human skull with a large centipede crawling through its eye socket, surrounded by vibrant red mushrooms. As scenes of withering and decay fill his sight, a single thought forms in his mind. It's beautiful. Holding the still growling wolf, Derek comments on the ambience of the morbid forest, and loud. He then pats the creature, trying to soothe it. Hush, puppy. The camera pans over to an old, weathered animal skull lying amongst the leaves, further emphasizing the theme of death in the forest. Reality seems to finally seep into Derek's consciousness. Now out of his armor and in a plain shirt, he holds the struggling wolf and concedes, "I guess it wasn't a dream after all." He suddenly has a realization. Huh, I have my system back. That makes no sense. Why would I? He pauses, noticing something is wrong. Wait, it's different. Where are my achievements? What the hell is going on? He pulls up his status window. It reads, DERK Hunt Age, 26 LVL, 0 Class NA Race Human Modified. His stats are present, but his skills and achievements are listed as none, confirming his fears. Determined, Derek thinks, I better still have my skills. He materializes his polearm, which crackles with familiar blue energy, preparing to test his abilities. He swings his weapon, attempting to perform his signature move as a system prompt describes the skill. Energy Slash, RELEASES, a wave of energy from the blade of your weapon. But nothing happens. Derek stands there, polearm in hand, completely dumbfounded. Even the wolf looks on, confused by the lack of any action. In a comical display of frustration, a chibi version of Derek frantically swings his weapon over and over, trying to activate Energy Slash, but to no avail. The repeated failure results in a painful system backlash. Derek clutches his head, crying out, AGH, damn it, why won't my skill activate? His mind flashes back to the initial alert. And what about that error? He wonders, recalling the red window. It said something about an invading system. While scratching his head in thought, the wolf begins chewing on his arm again. He pieces the clues together, musing, does that mean there are two of them? Did my old one somehow combine with a new one? Sitting down on a rock and cradling the wolf like a house pet, Derek ponders his larger situation. How did I even get here? And just where exactly is here anyway? As he stands up, his foot lands on a dry twig, which snaps loudly in the quiet forest. The sound puts him on high alert. He whirls around, holding the wolf defensively as it growls. Who's there? He shouts into the woods. Thomas emerges from his hiding spot and immediately drops to his knees, begging for his life. Please don't eat me. I'm sorry. I just want to find my way home. Derek stares down at the terrified boy, completely baffled by his plea. Eat you? What are you talking about, kid? Thomas looks up, sniffling as he wipes a tear from his eye. You mean, you're not a man-eating demon? Derek replies, equally confused. Man-eating? What the hell are you talking about? With the gruesome-looking wolf draped over his shoulder, Derek asks with genuine innocence, completely unaware of the irony. What about me looks like a man-eating demon? As if on cue, the wolf suddenly lunges forward and barks aggressively at Thomas, who screams and flinches back in terror. Derek immediately begins to scold the wolf, shaking it like a misbehaving pet. Bad dog, no, he yells. Thomas, witnessing the absurdity of the scene, can only conclude he's insane. Turning his attention back to the boy, Derek apologizes casually. Sorry about that, kid. What's your name? He asks, then introduces himself. I'm Derek. The boy, though still terrified, hesitantly answers, It's Thomas. Derek, now petting the bloody wolf, which is drawn with a comical halo, asks, What level are you, Tommy? Why are you scared of this little guy? Thomas corrects him. I said Thomas, before explaining his situation. Level, I'm not 13 yet, so I'm still level 0. Derek looks surprised by this information. You can't use the system until you're 13, Thomas confirms. Yeah, you have to turn 13, then kill a creature to unlock it. The words from Thomas spark an idea in Derek's mind. Kill a creature, he repeats to himself, his gaze turning towards the undead wolf in his arms. Sensing a shift in Derek's demeanor, the wolf begins to look nervous, its comical halo disappearing. With sudden, shocking brutality, Derek snaps the wolf's neck. The sound echoes as blood splatters, his eyes glowing with a menacing red light. Thomas screams in horror, What? Why'd you kill it? You were just playing with it. Derek, standing calmly over the wolf's corpse, states flatly, It wasn't a pet, Tommy. I know you're 12, but are you really this naive? Derek lectures. He points to the dead monster and explains the harsh reality. If you're level 0, then the second I let go, it would have torn you to shreds. Derek turns away from the boy, a thoughtful look on his face as he anticipates the system's response. Now, give me a second, he says. A barrage of system notifications floods his vision. CONG8UL8ONS, you killed a level 53 undead forest wolf and unlocked the great system. Level increased 2-1. He also unlocks the Giant Slayer achievement for killing a creature 50 levels above him, gaining 2 skill points and 282 experience, triggering multiple level ups. As the level UP notifications continue to pop up, Derek breaks into ecstatic laughter. "Haha, this is more like it," he exclaims, thrilled to be gaining power again. But then a different set of notifications appears. "Ha, there's even more," he says, observing the red and blue windows. They read, "Failure to eliminate threat, SUPPRESSING threat," and finally, threat successfully suppressed. Derek looks at the conflicting system messages, his earlier hypothesis proving correct. "This new system was unable to get rid of my old one," he muses. Looking at his hand, he concludes, "So I was right." A confident, almost sinister smile spreads across his face as he fully grasps his unique situation. "My old system isn't gone," he declares. "I have too." The intense moment is broken by a loud rumbling sound from Thomas's stomach, who has been standing by awkwardly. Thomas blushes deeply, clutching his stomach in embarrassment. Derek's menacing demeanor vanishes, replaced by a friendly smile. "You hungry?" he asks. Thomas, looking relieved, shyly nods and admits, "Starving." Sparks fly as Derek quickly gets a large campfire going. The two settle down for a meal, with Derek roasting the meat from a large creature over the roaring fire while Thomas watches, seated on a nearby log. Derek uses a skill to magically create fresh water, filling a bottle. He offers it to Thomas, saying, "Here, have some water." The boy gratefully accepts with a quiet thanks. Thomas eagerly gulps down the water while Derek sips from a mug, offering some advice. "Don't drink so fast, you'll make yourself sick." Thomas pauses, realizing the wisdom in the advice. "Oh, right," he says, his fear of Derek slowly being replaced by a fragile trust. Meanwhile, Derek's mind is already on his next step. "Now I just need to figure out how to access my original system." As he drinks, Derek strategizes, looking at a blank system screen. He knows what he needs to test his theory. "I should already have meditation," he thinks to himself. "It's easily one of the most powerful skills." He decides to test his theory. "Maybe if I purchase it in this new system," he thinks as his finger hovers over the system window. He clicks yes on the prompt. "Learn meditation for 1 skill point." The moment he confirms the purchase, his heart thumps in his chest. A notification instantly appears. "Dormant skill similar to meditation DETECTED. MERGING skills." His experiment is a success. Suddenly, raw power surges through Derek's body, causing him to convulse as blue lightning arcs around him. He lets out a pained scream. "GAUGH." Thomas, startled, cries out, "What's wrong? Did you drink too fast?" A new system window appears, displaying a simple but monumental message. "Skills successfully MERGED." The surge of energy subsides, leaving Derek hunched over and sweating. "URGH," he groans, clutching his head. He tries to reassure the worried boy. "What? No, I'm fine." Internally, he's reeling from the intensity of the merge. What the hell was that? It was like my veins were on fire, he thinks. More notifications appear, confirming the results. Meditation skill has REACHED level 20, and meditation successfully upgraded into greater meditation. As he processes this, a determined look appears on his face. A single question runs through his mind, confirming what he suspected. "So I still have all my old skills." Recalling the earlier messages about the threat being suppressed, Derek finally understands the full picture. His old skills aren't gone, he realizes. They're just dormant. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he clenches a fist glowing with newfound power. "And when I get a similar one, THEY unlock and upgrade," he concludes. "I'm going to be even stronger than before." The scene shifts. Thomas is nervously holding a set of glowing mana clippers. "You're sure this is a good idea to do while we're moving?" he asks, looking down from Derek's shoulders. "What if I slip?" Derek, carrying Thomas on his shoulders while gnawing on a leg of roasted meat, is unconcerned. "I already told you the mana clippers do all the work. You just have to run them over my head." Thomas reluctantly agrees. "If you say so," as the clippers buzz to life. As they journey deeper into the woods, Derek presses Thomas for more information. "Now keep talking," he demands. "I said I'd only get you home safe if you told me about this place, remember?" While awkwardly trying to give Derek a haircut, Thomas gives in. "ALRIGHT, ALRIGHT, fine," he says. As strands of dark hair fall away, Thomas begins his explanation of this new world. "Like I was saying, everything is ruled by the great system. He starts with the official ideology, depicted by an image of happy people celebrating under a rain of confetti. My grandfather says that it's fair and equal to everyone. That we should be thankful for the classes and skills IT gives us. But his voice falters as he reveals the darker truth. But he's just too scared to say the truth. It's not equal or fair, Thomas states grimly, as an image of a cruel-looking king and his nobles appears. The nobles use the great system to get strong. And then they hold everyone else down, he says, accompanied by a visual of giant hands shackling the common folk. They cheat the great system and find ways to gain advantages that make the gap between us and them even wider. The scene illustrates this with nobles killing a massive, chained-up dragon in a controlled environment, a king telling his son, "Kill IT while it's caged, son." Thomas's anger builds as he speaks, and he starts cutting Derek's hair more aggressively. And because of the damn nobles, he seethes. His eyes fill with rage and unshed tears as he touches upon a deep personal tragedy. MYPARNTS. In his anger, the clippers slip. GAAH, Derek yelps. "Hey, watch where you're cutting." Startled by his own mistake, Thomas drops everything and reverts to begging. "Please don't kill me, I'm sorry." Derek holds up a hand mirror to inspect the damage, trying to sound reassuring but failing miserably. "Relax, kid. I'm not insane. Obviously, I wouldn't kill you until after I've seen how bad IT is." Thomas can only shiver in fear. Derek inspects his new, much shorter haircut in the mirror and to Thomas's surprise seems pleased. He gives a thumbs up to the boy's terrified reflection and says, "CONGRATULATIONS, you get to live." In a tiny thought bubble, Thomas wonders, is he joking? The scene fades to the next morning with the sun rising over a vast forest. Derek's voice calls out, "Hey, Tommy, wake UP." Derek gently shakes the sleeping Thomas awake as they continue their journey. They arrive at what appears to be the outskirts of a settlement. A rundown shack stands near a fork in the road, with a discarded helmet lying near a gnarled tree root. "HRMMM, what is it?" Derek asks as they stop. Derek looks at a crude wooden signpost with the names RAYNA, LEON, and Noah carved into it. He asks Thomas, "Which way to your village?" Thomas, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, begins to answer, pointing towards a path. "Right, I'm from Rainesville." Suddenly his eyes snap wide open. He's seen something ahead that fills him with dread. With a cry of "Mr. Jones!" Thomas leaps from Derek's shoulders and dashes towards the house, leaving a surprised Derek behind. He runs frantically, his feet tapping past a gruesome trail of blood and mangled body parts scattered on the ground. Thomas reaches the shattered doorway of the wooden house, calling out the name again as he enters, "Mr. J.O." The horrifying sight cuts him short. The body of Mr. Jones lies on the floor in a pool of blood, a feeling of absolute doom filling the room. Thomas can only whisper the last syllable, "Ness." A full view shows the bloody and lifeless body of Mr. Jones lying on the wooden floor. Thomas stares, his face a mask of pure horror, pupils constricted as he tries to process the massacre. Derek comes up behind him, placing a gentle, comforting hand on the boy's shoulder. With his new haircut, Derek looks on with a calm expression. "This isn't your grandpa you were telling me so much about, is it?" he asks. Thomas, trembling, replies, "No. He was just a nice old man, but..." Thomas's shock gives way to disbelief and grief. "How could this happen? He was nearly level 30, he cries out. Derek, however, is unfazed by this information. His expression is one of detached analysis as he asks, 30, is that supposed to be strong? Thomas explodes in anger at Derek's callousness. "What are you even talking about?" he shouts. "At that level, nothing in the forest should even be able to scratch him." Leaning coolly against the doorframe with his arms crossed, Derek challenges the boy's worldview with a simple question. Are you sure? Derek then drops a bombshell, shattering Thomas's understanding of the forest's dangers. "That wolf I killed earlier was level 53. An image flashes back to him, snapping the wolf's neck, the system notification for Giant Slayer appearing. The revelation devastates Thomas. He stumbles back, surrounded by the gory scene, and stammers in denial. "That's impossible. There's no way. You're lying." But the horrifying truth sinks in, turning his denial into panic. "If that's true, we need to get back home now. he exclaims, his face filled with terror for his own village. I have to warn Chief Reina. The scene shows the bloody doorframe of the house, contrasting the grim interior with the bright, sunlit forest outside, which now feels far more menacing. Derek looks out into the dark, twisted woods with a grim expression, thinking to himself, if the kid even has a home to return to. In the distance, a mysterious green orb emanates a faint, sickly glow. The strange, patterned green orb hums with a dark energy, pulsing ominously in the depths of the forest. The reanimated corpse of the wolf Derek had killed earlier steps out from between the trees, its eyes glowing with the same green light, drawn towards the orb's power. The undead wolf lifts its head and sniffs the air, its feral gaze fixed on the source of the green energy, letting out an eager sound. The wolf's ear twitches as it senses another presence nearby, far more powerful than the orb. Its head snaps up, letting out a vicious snarl as it stares into the darkness, reacting to the overwhelming power it feels. From the shadows emerges a new threat, a terrifying, giant skeletal monster, wreathed in green flames and dark energy, towering over the undead wolf. With a single, contemptuous slam of its hand, the skeletal monster effortlessly crushes the level 53 wolf, demonstrating its immense and terrifying power. The very trees of the forest seem to shudder and recoil from the sheer evil emanating from the newly arrived creature. A close-up on the monster's face shows green, noxious energy leaking from its jaw as it lets out a deep, gravelly growl. The chapter ends with a full reveal of the colossal skeletal monster, with its horned skull, green flaming hair, and a tattered cloak adorned with the skulls of its victims. It stands as a harbinger of doom, the new, formidable threat that awaits Derek and Thomas. The story opens with a panoramic view of a peaceful, sun-drenched village nestled at the foot of towering mountains. Water drips from a heavy basket, indicating something freshly gathered. A woman, Mallory, looks at her daughter with a mix of pride and concern, asking, "You sure you can carry all that on your own, Brandy?" The young girl, Brandy, confidently replies, "Of course I can, Mama. I unlocked the great system, didn't I?" Brandy declares that she's strong enough to help, but trembles under the heavy load. Her mother, Mallory, smiles warmly and pats her head, saying, "That's my girl." As they walk through the village, Mallory suggests, "If you ask nicely, I bet your father will give you leather from the hunt." Brandy's eyes light up with excitement at the thought. "Really? I can increase my leatherworking skill." In her excitement, she accidentally drops the heavy, dripping basket. Mallory continues with a smile, adding, "He might even let you help skin the animal. That is an important part of leatherworking, after all." Brandy's excitement vanishes, replaced by a look of dawning horror as she repeats the word, "skin." Her face fills with absolute terror as she processes the full meaning of the question, "the animal." The scene flashes back to 2 weeks ago. Brandy's father, Travis, tells her, "You're 13 now, honey. That means it's time you decided how you're going to contribute to the village. Are you ready to unlock the great system? I have a special treat for you." Travis presents Brandy with her first challenge, a small, fluffy creature. "A level 10 monster," he exclaims. A system window pops up, identifying the creature as a fluffy fox level 10. After its defeat, another window confirms, "Achievement unlocked, Lesser Giant Slayer. 1 skill point received." The reality of the kill hits Brandy hard. She looks at the bloody creature, sobbing. "I should have spent my skill point on something else. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking about touching dead animals. I can't kill them. I just wanted to learn a trade. I made a mistake." Returning to the present, Mallory comforts her daughter. "You'll grow used to it, dear." She then adds quietly, "Though I wish your father hadn't found the cutest beast I've ever s." Suddenly, a loud crash interrupts them. Both mother and daughter look startled and afraid. Mallory recognizes her husband, Travis, running towards them, wounded. But he just left for the hunt. A bloodied man yells, "Mallory, take Brandy to the eastern gate." Mallory and Brandy run to him as Mallory asks, "Trav, what's going on?" He urgently replies, "Beasts are attacking, strong ones, higher level than we've ever." Brandy looks at her wounded father in shock, calling out, "Daddy!" Travis, holding his bleeding side, says, "There's no time to explain." Travis looks his daughter in the eyes and tells her, "Listen to your mother, sweetie." Brandy, though scared, tearfully agrees, "Okay." Mallory tries to plead with him, but Travis turns to face the danger, spear in hand, and yells, "Just go, Mallory, now." As Mallory pulls a crying Brandy away, Travis looks back one last time. "I love you both, please stay safe." The once peaceful village is now engulfed in flames and chaos, a clear sign of a devastating attack. While fleeing through the burning village, a sniffling Brandy asks her mother, "Mama, is Daddy going to be okay?" Mallory tries to be strong for her daughter, replying, "Of course he will. Your father and Chief Leon are both very strong. He'll make it back to us." With a look of fierce determination, trying to convince both her daughter and herself, Mallory repeats, "I know he will." A man in armor, Chief Leon, tries to rally the fleeing villagers. "All right, everyone listen up. Reina's village is only a day's travel away." Trying to keep morale up, Chief Leon gives a confident thumbs up. "If we move quickly, we might even be able to make it before nightfall, and I'm sure our hunters will be right behind us." Mallory stands protectively beside Brandy, holding a spear. She tries to reassure everyone, saying, "There's no need to panic. Everything is going to be." Her words are cut short as a massive, clawed foot slams into the ground right in front of them. The shadow of a great beast falls over Chief Leon. He turns, his confident expression replaced with dread as he mutters, "Shit." A massive, snarling, wolf-like monster lunges at the chief. As someone screams, "Run!" the monster viciously tears into Chief Leon. The villagers, including Mallory and Brandy, look on in horror as the chief's severed arm falls to the ground. Brandy stares blankly, her mind shutting down from the sheer terror of the scene. One of the savage, blood-soaked wolf monsters stands, its eyes glowing with malevolence. Mallory stands her ground, readying her spear as a pack of the monsters approach. Brandy whimpers behind her, "Mama." Another villager looks on in despair as Mallory tells her daughter, "Brandy, I need you to run." Brandy hesitates, "But Mama, I—" As a monster jumps towards her, Mallory cuts her daughter off, screaming with desperation, "I said run." The sheer force of her mother's command makes Brandy flinch and take a step back. Mallory strains, using all her strength to hold back the snapping jaws of a wolf with the shaft of her spear. As Brandy starts to run, she sees another villager get tackled and overwhelmed by two more of the beasts. Overpowered and knocked to the ground, Mallory resolves herself to her fate. "Just hold them off long enough for Brandy to run, Mal. Let her get to safety, then you can die." Brandy runs for her life, tears streaming down her face as she glances back at her mother's struggle. She continues to flee, weeping in terror and grief. Not looking where she's going, Brandy runs headfirst into a tall, armored figure with a solid bonk. Having fallen to the ground, Brandy looks up at two silhouettes against the light. A large armored man, Derek, is carrying a small boy, Tommy. Derek asks coolly, "Would you guys like some help?" The boy, Tommy, furiously kicks Derek. "What do you mean, would they like some help? Are you blind?" Derek, unfazed, replies, "It's only good manners. I don't want to reduce their experience." Brandy looks up at them, tears in her eyes, and manages to choke out a single desperate word. "Please." Tommy recognizes her and jumps down, rushing to embrace her. "Brandy, are you okay? We saw the smoke." Brandy cuts him off, clinging to him and pleading, "Please." She screams in desperation, "Don't let my mom die." In the background, Mallory is still being viciously attacked by one of the wolves. In response to Brandy's desperate plea, Derek simply says, "Okay," as he nonchalantly flicks his armored finger. A beam of pure energy shoots from his fingertip, cutting through the air towards the beast attacking Mallory. The energy beam blasts through the wolf with explosive force, instantly killing it and saving Mallory from certain death. Mallory, bloodied and battered, stares in utter shock at the spot where the wolf just was, unable to comprehend what just happened. What? Derek now faces the three remaining wolves. A nearby villager asks, "What about the other three?" Derek replies with cold sarcasm, "The experience is probably good for you guys." Furious and terrified, Mallory screams at him, "We don't care about the experience, just kill them." Derek cracks his knuckles, a confident, almost cruel smirk spreading across his face. "This is gonna be fun." The three remaining wolves let out a collective howl and charged towards Derek. With lightning-fast reflexes, Derek catches the severed leg of a previously killed beast out of the air, his eyes glowing with focus. As one of the wolves leaps at him, Derek prepares to counter. He slams the leg into the ground with immense force, creating a shockwave that sends two of the charging wolves flying backwards. His gauntlet glows with power as he prepares his next move. Derek becomes a blur of motion, effortlessly weaving between the wolves and striking them down with brutal efficiency. He flips and twists through the air, gracefully dodging their attacks while repositioning for his own. Diving from above, he plunges his hand, crackling with blue energy, straight into the back of a wolf. He follows up with a second stab, his movements a fluid and deadly dance. His eyes blaze with power as he unleashes a final, devastating wave of energy. When the dust settles, Derek stands unharmed amidst the mangled corpses of the wolves. He looks around with a disappointed shrug. I was wrong. That wasn't any fun at all. He finishes with a look of utter disdain. These wolves are so weak. Finally safe, Brandy rushes to her mother's side, and they collapse into a tearful, relieved embrace. Mama. Mallory holds her daughter close. Brandy's relief quickly turns back to worry. If the monsters at home were this strong, Daddy, Mallory comforts her. It's gonna be okay, honey. Your daddy is a very strong man. But in her mind, Mallory admits the harsh truth. But not nearly as strong as this man. There's not a single person in all the villages who could kill a beast of that level so easily. She looks over at her savior. As Derek turns to face her, she gathers her courage and asks, "Thank you for saving us, but just who exactly are you?" Derek casually pats Tommy on the head. "I'm just a guy taking this kid back to his village. You're welcome to join us." Tommy hears a pretty useless guide. Tommy looks up at Derek, his face etched with worry as he tries to remind him of the bigger picture. But Derek, their village. Derek coldly rebuffs Tommy. "I said I'd take you home. I didn't say I'd go out of my way to help every one of your friends." He gestures dismissively towards the survivors. Besides, with what we know of that forest, the village is likely already destroyed. One of the other villagers, a woman with a spear, overhears him and asks with sudden interest, "The forest? What do you mean? Did the Grace Falls send you to find out what was wrong with it?" Derek glances over his shoulder and gives a blunt, one-word answer. No. Tommy grabs Derek's arm, desperately pulling him. "We should go anyway. They might still be alive. We could help, we could." Derek cuts him off, his voice sharp. "Who's we?" he asks, then clarifies with a single word pointing to himself. "Me." Tommy looks back, utterly confused by the question. Huh. Derek stares down at the boy, his expression intense. "You want me to help? I'll be the one fighting, not we." Tommy tries to protest, but Derek interrupts, laying out the terms of their agreement. "But nothing. I saved your life in the forest. Then you gave me information and I agreed to get you home. That's it. That's our contract. I didn't sign up to risk my life for strangers." Derek poses a question to the boy. "Do you know why I'm strong? Why I'm even still alive?" Tommy, intimidated, trembles and replies, no. Derek begins to explain his harsh worldview, a painful memory flashing in his mind. "It's because I rely on myself. I don't put no faith in others to help me, and most importantly." His eyes glow with a cold, hard light as he delivers his core tenet. "I don't go out of my way to be heroic." A montage of faces from his past, shattered like broken glass, illustrates his next point. "Every time something terrible has happened to me, it has been because I stuck my nose where it doesn't belong." Tommy grits his teeth, his face a mask of frustration at Derek's cynical words. Finally snapping, Tommy yells at him, "That doesn't matter, you're strong now, you should help people." Derek scoffs, a condescending look on his face, spoken like a true 12-year-old. In a fit of rage, Tommy starts beating his small fists against Derek's impenetrable armor. "So what if you'll be the only one fighting? You don't need anyone else. Nothing here can even hurt you, see." With tears of frustration in his eyes, Tommy screams his final accusation. "You're just being an asshole." As the surviving villagers watch the boy's futile assault, Derek calmly agrees with the accusation. Exactly. Derek continues his cynical lecture while Tommy keeps hitting him. "I am an asshole. I'm an asshole in a world where assholes live and heroes die. Life ain't a fairy tale, kid. One day I hope you become a proper asshole." Tommy's frantic assault finally stops, his small hand gripping Derek's massive gauntlet. Derek grabs Tommy's wrist, his expression softening almost imperceptibly as he offers a piece of hard-won advice. Be an asshole, get strong, then be a hero. He leans in, emphasizing his point. That's the only way you can survive in a world like this. Tommy glares back, still defiant. Derek looks away, his voice becoming more reflective. It's a harsh lesson to learn, one so ingrained in me that I forgot sometimes it's okay to break it. Then with a sudden motion, he lifts the surprised Tommy onto his shoulder. A flustered Tommy, now perched on Derek's shoulder, asks, "Wow, what are you doing?" Derek simply replies, "What else?" With a newfound determination in his eyes, Derek declares their new mission. We're going to save what's left of that village. Amidst the embers and falling ash of a desolate landscape, a young, blonde-haired boy looks on with a shocked expression, panting heavily. The boy, Thomas, stands alone, looking small and vulnerable in the middle of a burning, destroyed village. Suddenly, a giant, grotesque monster with rotting flesh appears, letting out a ferocious growl as it lunges forward. In front of it, a man with black hair, Derek, stands firm, protecting Thomas. Derek readies his golden spear-like weapon, his gaze sharp and determined as he prepares to face the beast. The monster lets out a deafening roar as it charges, its claws ready to tear everything apart. With a swift movement, Derek unleashes a powerful attack, a slash of brilliant blue energy that cuts through the air and strikes the monster directly. A close-up reveals Derek's cold, focused expression as he lands the decisive blow against the creature. After defeating the monster, Derek and Thomas walk in silence through the burning, corpse-ridden streets of the village. As they pass by the bodies of fallen villagers, a thought crosses Derek's mind, showing no surprise at the grim sight. He knew it was going to be like this. Derek continues his internal monologue, suggesting this entire tragedy is a lesson for him. He knew, and he wanted me to know, too. Derek turns to Thomas and says coldly, "Do you understand? This is what happens when you aren't strong enough." Thomas suddenly stops him, his eyes wide with alarm as he points towards something in the distance. "Stop! What is it?" "Another beast." Derek looks on as a pained groan echoes from the rubble. He calmly tells Thomas, "Just wait." A silent panel focuses on Derek's intense gaze as he assesses the situation. From beneath a pile of rubble, a heavily injured, bearded man emerges. Thomas shouts his name in a mix of horror and relief, "Chief Leon." Thomas immediately dashes toward the injured man, but Derek yells at him to stop. "Wait, Tommy, get back here." Chief Leon looks at the boy in surprise. "Thomas, what are you doing here? It's not safe." Thomas, reaching his side, desperately explains, "Chief Leon, we came here to help, Leon's gaze shifts past them to a fallen warrior on the ground. His voice is heavy with grief as he asks, "Is that Brandy's?" A close-up on Leon's face shows his pain and sorrow. He confirms Brandy's fate, stating, "He fought bravely, but he will not make it." The scene shows Brandy's lifeless body impaled by a weapon. Thomas stares in horror as Leon adds with finality, "Nobody will." Derek asks Leon, "You don't have a healer that can help him?" Leon lets out a bitter laugh. "A healer high enough level for this would never come to our backwater village." Derek looks away, lost in thought. His internal monologue reveals a potential solution. "I have one last resurrection potion in my storage bracelet. I could." But he quickly dismisses the idea with a firm no. His cold, pragmatic reasoning becomes clear. "I don't go out of my way to be heroic. What if I need it at some point? I can't let the kid's misplaced sense of heroism infect me." As Brandy's body is confirmed to be beyond saving, Thomas collapses to his knees, sniffing and crying in despair. Above him, Derek looks on, his expression unchanged. However, a flicker of an idea crosses Derek's mind. "But there is something I could do. They can say their last goodbyes." With a new purpose, he turns away from the grieving boy and chief, promising, "I'll be right back." Elsewhere in the burning village, a woman with brown hair cries in absolute terror and despair. The scene reveals she is cradling the body of her husband, the warrior Brandy's father, who was impaled. As their young daughter, Brandy, watches in shock, the mother begs, "Daddy, no, please don't go." From a distance, the dying Chief Leon reaches out a hand weakly, his voice filled with sorrow as he says the name of the grieving child, Brandy. With his last breath, Brandy's father looks at his daughter and speaks to his wife, "Be strong for your mother." He then whispers his final words, "I love you." The light fades from his eyes, and he passes away, leaving his family to grieve in a pool of blood under the harsh shadows of the burning village. The mother and daughter kneel over the body, their cries echoing in the chaos. "I don't want you to be gone, Daddy." The mother lets out a final, heart-wrenching scream of pleas. The scene transitions away from the tragedy to a quiet, peaceful stream nearby. Derek, Thomas, and Chief Leon have moved to the stream's edge. Derek looks back at the burning village and says, "It's still not safe here. Once those two have said their goodbyes, we should get moving." Thomas stands silently, sniffling as a tear traces a path down his sorrowful face. Derek places a hand on the boy's shoulder, offering a grim form of comfort. "I know it's hard, kid, but you'll get used to it." Chief Leon furiously slaps Derek's hand away. "Get used to it? The boy just saw his friend's father die. Don't tell him to get used to it." Leon gets in Derek's face, poking him accusingly in the chest. "Who are you anyway?" He continues to challenge the stranger, his voice full of protective anger. "I know you're not from any village around here, so tell me why I should let Thomas go anywhere with you." Derek remains silent, his expression unreadable in the face of the chief's confrontation. Just as the tension peaks, Thomas steps in, surprisingly taking the stranger's side. Derek's right. With a newfound determination, Thomas explains his grim understanding of the world. "I've lost before, when my parents didn't come home. In a way. I'm jealous they got to say goodbye." A flashback shows a younger Thomas sitting alone before a large gate at night, revealing the trauma of his own parents' disappearance. With the matter settled, the small group continues their journey, leaving the burning village and its sorrows behind them. Having found a moment of peace, Derek decides it's time to assess his situation. He thinks, "I guess I should go over my system notifications." A blue holographic screen appears before him as he muses. "I probably gained quite a few levels." A series of notifications confirms his kills. A level 22 undead forest wolf, a level 18 black forest bear, and another level 29 undead forest wolf. The final, most important message declares, "Level 10 reached. Please choose a class." Derek considers the choice. Class, I wonder if I'll be able to pick the same one from my previous system. But as he interacts with the screen, his eyes widen in shock. Holy shit, screw picking the same class, these options are insane. The system presents his first option, Shadow Brawler, a rare class. The description reads, "You have become one with the darkness. Shadows bend to your will. Move with them to unleash the darkness unto your foe," accompanied by an image of a shadowy assassin. He swipes again, revealing an epic class, Chaos Glaive. Your glaive is an extension of you. Your will is its will. You are chaos personified. Only destruction will be known to enemies who cross your blade. The image shows a menacing figure wielding a powerful, chaotic scythe, a path that feels familiar to him. The third option is another epic class, Eternal Guardian. You are eternal. You have endured horrors beyond imagination and still live. You are your own guardian. The artwork depicts a knight in golden armor, accompanied by a magnificent phoenix representing resilience. Derek looks at the incredible class options, feeling overwhelmed. He thinks, "How the hell am I supposed to choose just one? They're all so." His thought is cut short as his eyes widen in shock. He has noticed something else, something hidden. "Hold on," he mutters. He gulps, a bead of sweat running down his face as he stares at the screen. In the background, Chief Leon looks on with concern. Derek begins to tremble, his voice shaking as he asks, "What is this?" The system reveals a fourth, hidden epic class, Champion of the Void. The description hints at a dark past. You have been chosen by the void itself. It has broken and consumed you, but you will never again be trapped within it, for you are a part of it. Derek recognizes the name with dread. The Void. His mind flashes back to a memory of being trapped within that dark, empty space. He recalls its endless expanse and unrelenting hunger, stating that it was not a teacher or an ally. The memory becomes a traumatic blur of shattered images, capturing the absolute agony and terror he experienced within the void. He remembers the nature of his captor. It was a master, brutal and unforgiving. An image of his younger self, defiant against the overwhelming darkness, appears in his mind. The sheer pressure of the void was enough to make the very ground beneath his feet crack and shatter. The memory continues. The void had beaten me, broken me, consumed me, but for all its emptiness it offered something nothing else could. He recalls the promise the system made to him after his ordeal. You can never again be trapped within the void. And the ultimate reward it offered, control. Returning to the present, Derek understands the connection. It was me, he thinks, as a hand of pure void energy appears before him, and I was it. Without hesitation, he presses yes to the prompt asking if he wants to select Champion of the Void as his class. The moment he makes his choice, a cataclysmic explosion of purple and white energy erupts from his body. The blast sends Leon and Thomas flying. Leon yells in a panic, "What the hell is going on?" Before turning to his companion, Derek, "Get away from him, Thomas." Thomas struggles against Leon's protective grip, yelling, "Let go of me, Leon! Derek, what's going on?" But Leon holds him firm, shouting, "It's not safe, boy." A massive column of violent, purple energy engulfs Derek, glowing brightly as his transformation takes place. As the light subsides, Derek examines his hands, which now course with void energy. Two notifications appear: new skill learned, channel void, and new skill learned, void call. A smirk plays on his lips as he thinks, new skills, might as well try them outright. He immediately begins to test his newfound abilities, gathering dark purple energy between his palms to form a dense sphere of pure void. The chaotic energy suddenly vanishes. Leon and Thomas look on, panting in terror. It stopped. Leon wonders aloud, what the hell is he? In the distance, Derek stands, a void-like core now glowing in his chest. Derek decides to test his other new skill, thinking the words, void call. He unleashes a massive, roaring beam of purple energy that shoots straight up into the sky, shaking the very landscape. Struck with terror by the display of overwhelming power, Leon shields Thomas and prays to the only thing he can think of, "Great system, save us." The violent energy subsides, now swirling harmlessly around Derek. He looks at his hands with a pleased and confident smile. His smile twists into a sinister, almost crazed grin as his eyes glow a menacing purple. He exclaims, "This is incredible." The beam of energy Derek fired into the sky now comes crashing down, striking a nearby forest with the force of a meteor, sending out crackles of purple lightning. From the point of impact in the forest, the ground begins to tremble and crack. A dark, monstrous shape, wreathed in purple energy, begins to emerge from the earth. Leon and Thomas stare in disbelief at the new terror rising from the ground. Leon denies what he's seeing. No, it can't be. While Thomas wonders if Derek is the cause. Derek. Back in the destroyed village, Brandy and her mother are startled by the violent tremors. The little girl asks, "Mommy, what is going on?" Her mother can only stare at the purple-hued sky in fear, admitting, I don't know. The source of the commotion is revealed as a pillar of violent void energy erupts from the ground within the village itself, tearing the landscape apart. A wide shot shows the aftermath. The village is further destroyed, with a massive fissure left in the ground from which purple energy particles now drift into the sky. Derek looks up, a bead of sweat on his face. His confident smile is gone, replaced by a look of concern as he senses what he has summoned. He says, "Is that?" As a massive, terrifying creature made of pure void energy emerges from the fissure, he realizes the consequence of his new power. A void beast. Continuing from the last chapter, Derek looks up at the sky, overwhelmed by the phenomenon unfolding before him. He can't help but mutter, "This is unbelievable." Even the villagers are in awe. A man named Thomas looks on in disbelief and asks the person next to him, "Where did you find such a man, Thomas?" A little girl, frightened by the scene, asks her mother what is happening. Her mother, equally clueless and scared, can only reply, "I don't know, sweetie." The unbelievable sight is Derek's own doing. He looks up, ecstatic, as he realizes he has successfully performed a summoning. "I get my very own summon," he exclaims in joy. From a tier in the sky, a massive beam of purple energy crashes down, materializing a monstrous creature right in front of Derek. Derek observes the terrifying, multi-eyed beast he has summoned. He decides on a name for it, thinking, "What should I call you?" "Asher." He then affirms his choice. "Yeah, you look like an Asher." Derek speaks to his new summon with a thoughtful expression. "You're a bit smaller than the other one, but I can work with it," he says, hinting at a previous encounter with a similar, even larger beast. Watching from a distance, the young boy with Thomas is shocked by Derek's calm demeanor. He's smiling. Does he not know what a void beast is? Is he crazy? He wonders. Thomas, however, calmly replies, no. Thomas believes in Derek's capabilities, stating, I think he can control it. Confident, Derek decides to test his control over the beast and commands, can you sit, Asher? Derek issues a firm command, sit. However, before he can even finish repeating the word, Asher lunges at him in a sudden, violent rebellion. Asher's powerful attack slams into the ground, narrowly missing Derek and sending debris flying everywhere. As the situation turns dangerous, Thomas quickly shoves the young boy back to safety, shouting, Derek, stay back, Thomas. The ground cracks under the immense force of Asher's hand slamming down, a testament to the creature's raw power. Derek, now clad in armor and sporting a fresh wound on his head, glares at his rebellious summon. The initial excitement is gone, replaced by cold fury. You shouldn't have done that, Asher, he says menacingly. Now I have to kill you. Asher stands defiantly, its red eyes glowing as it prepares to face its own master in a battle to the death. With blood dripping down his face, Derek turns to the onlookers. You two, get out of here, he orders, preparing for a serious fight. As Thomas and the boy flee, Derek materializes a blade of pure energy from his armored gauntlet, ready to engage his rogue summon. Derek's eyes glow with intensity, his face a mask of cold determination. I don't want you getting in my way, he mutters, focusing entirely on the battle ahead. Derek attempts to use his system's ability to analyze the foe. Identify, he commands. However, the system fails, returning a message. Identify skill failed, unknown entity. This creature is not of the great system. Derek grits his teeth in frustration. Damn it, of course, this damn system hates making things easy, he thinks, recalling a past battle. I could barely even put a scratch on his cousin. Knowing the immense power he's up against, Derek prepares for the worst. If this bastard is anything like that, he thinks as he propels himself forward with incredible speed. Derek leaps through the air, diving towards Asher. He knows he has only one chance to win this fight. There's no room for error, he thinks, his focus absolute. Derek clashes head-on with the void beast, his energy blade meeting Asher's monstrous jaw with a resounding snap. The impact creates a massive explosion of dark energy, but Derek is the one who bears the brunt of the force. Despite putting all his strength into the attack, Derek is immediately overpowered, his determined expression turning to one of shock as he is pushed back by his own summon. Derek is shocked by his summon's power, thinking, it blocked that with nothing but its palm, as Asher looms over him unfazed. Asher's blow sends Derek flying backward. Shit, he curses, realizing he has completely lost control of the situation. The void beast immediately retaliates, firing a massive beam of destructive energy directly at Derek. The blast hits him head-on and he coughs in pain, thinking, what the hell, as his body is thrown back. The force of the impact is immense, and Derek gasps for air, his face contorted in pain from the heavy damage he just sustained. Before Derek can even recover, Asher closes the distance in an instant. How is it so fast? Derek wonders in disbelief. Asher unleashes another devastating energy beam, sending Derek flying and crashing into the rocky terrain. Derek crashes to the ground, spitting a mouthful of blood as he cries out in agony. The damage is quickly adding up. Lying defeated on the ground, Derek resorts to a desperate, almost comical thought. Maybe if I play dead, it will get tired and leave me alone. But Asher is relentless. It begins to brutally pummel the spot where Derek is lying. Yeah, that's not happening, Derek thinks, his plan failing spectacularly. As Asher continues its assault, a system window flashes with a critical warning. Health has dropped below 20%. Realizing the grave danger, Derek curses and immediately shouts, activating meditation. Despite being pinned down and beaten, Derek struggles against the onslaught, a purple aura flaring around him. I need to get this bastard off of me now, he thinks, trying to muster his strength. His health ticks down to 19%. Fueled by desperation, Derek manages to get to his feet and thrusts his transformed spear towards Asher, shouting, take this. Asher's reaction is swift and dismissive. It effortlessly snatches Derek's weapon out of the air, completely nullifying his attack. The monster then slams Derek into a rock wall, causing his health to drop further to 18%, and then 17% as the brutal assault continues. Derek's health continues to plummet, now at 16% amidst the relentless beating. He coughs up another spray of blood, as the system registers his health falling to a critical 15%. Another smash from Asher's powerful fist sends shockwaves through Derek's body, and his health drops once more, now at 14%. Watching the horrific scene unfold from a safe distance, the young boy's face is stained with tears as he witnesses the hero being brutally beaten. Meanwhile, in a nearby village, the chaos has spread. A group of villagers is seen fleeing in terror. A woman calls out to their apparent leader, "Leon, what is going on?" Leon, carrying an injured person on his back, can only yell, "No time to explain, just keep running." Back on the battlefield, Asher's hand crackles with dark energy, preparing for another devastating blow. A single desperate thought echoes, "Please live." The void beast gathers energy into an orb, ready to unleash it. Pinned and helpless, Derek can only curse his fate. Derek is engulfed in another explosion of void energy, the overwhelming force making him realize, "I'm taking too much damage. Even with meditation active, my regeneration isn't enough." Derek thinks in despair as a system interface shows his health plummeting rapidly from 13% all the way down to 8%. Just as Derek is on the brink of death, a new system window appears, offering a glimmer of hope in his desperate situation. On the verge of death, Derek desperately searches for a solution, thinking, "I need something that can let me fight back." His eyes land on an option in the system interface. There. With no other choice, Derek spends his last skill point. A series of system notifications appear. Skill point spent. Heavy weapons master learned successfully. Skill points remaining 0. But then a new, unexpected message pops up. Multiple similar dormant skills found. The system begins merging the skills, and an excruciating pain courses through Derek's body, forcing him to scream in agony. As Asher slams the ground again, the system announces the completion of the painful process. Skills successfully merged. The results of the merge are instantaneous and immense. The heavy weapons master skill has been upgraded and boosted straight to level 20, represented by the spectral form of a powerful dragon. A massive torrent of blue energy erupts from Derek's body, signifying his explosive power-up. The tables have turned. Now glowing with blue energy, Derek clashes with Asher, his empowered strikes creating a flurry of blue and purple sparks against the beast's attacks. Derek is now on the offensive, swinging his glowing spear with newfound strength and pushing Asher back. Breathed in a powerful blue aura, he leaps into the air, poising his spear for a devastating downward strike. His face, though still bloody, is now a mask of pure rage and determination. His eyes glow with blue light as he channels his new power. Derek's empowered weapon clashes directly with Asher's hand. This time, the beast is the one struggling to hold its ground. He roars with effort, pushing with all his might as he tries to break through the monster's defense. "Come on, just a little more," he grunts. Despite his incredible power-up, he realizes his spear isn't breaking through. "I can't cut it," he thinks, his attack being held at bay. Derek quickly understands the problem. "The void is nullifying my attack." A sphere of light appears on his chest as he comes to a crucial realization. "But there's one thing I still haven't tried." With a smirk, he decides on a new strategy. Time to fight fire with fire. He begins to channel the very same void energy that Asher is made of. Void energy, colored purple and blue, swirls and coalesces around his spear, transforming it into a weapon capable of harming the void beast. Derek lets out a furious battle cry as he and Asher face off, both now wielding the same chaotic void energy. His void-infused spear finally breaks through Asher's guard, cracking the monster's energy-wreathed hand. Derek spins through the air, delivering a powerful arcing slash that cuts deep into the void beast. After his final decisive blow, Derek lands gracefully on the ground, the intense battle finally over. He stands panting, covered in his own blood but victorious. Looking up at the sky, he breathes a sigh of relief. Finally. A chilling smile spreads across his face as he looks back on the life-or-death struggle with a disturbing sense of satisfaction. That was fun. Victorious, Derek stands over the now lifeless corpse of his rogue summon, Asher, its long tongue lolling out in defeat. His victory is rewarded by the system. A notification appears. Achievement unlocked, Lesser Slayer of the Unknown. For slaying a creature from outside the Great System, he has earned a skill point, 20 stat points, and an automatic level up. The surge of power is immense, triggering a cascade of skill-level UP notifications across his vision. However, such a massive and anomalous power spike does not go unnoticed. The scene shifts to a lavishly decorated room, where a calm, authoritative voice responds to a knock on the door, saying, "Come in." A bald servant in a pristine suit enters, addressing his superior with deference. "Ma'am," he begins, "you're going to want to see this." He presents a folder bearing the emblem of a mysterious organization, the Crown. The report inside is alarming. Abnormal portal energy signature detected. The woman, known only as Ma'am, immediately understands the implication and asks, "A void beast?" The servant confirms her suspicion. "Without a doubt, ma'am." Sitting at a grand dining table, the red-haired leader of the Crown reads the report, her expression unreadable. "Interesting," she remarks, her curiosity piqued. Her decision is swift and absolute, signaling that Derek's actions have not gone unnoticed by powerful entities. "Send a hunter," she commands, setting a new and dangerous threat on his path. A large crowd of people shambles wearily through a forest canyon at sunset. They appear to be refugees, displaced and exhausted. A woman in the crowd looks up, her expression a mix of shock and recognition. "Huh, is that?" "It is." A weary, blood-stained man who appears to be the leader arrives with his family. The crowd stirs as someone shouts, "The chief is back." The villagers gather around their chief, named Leon, asking desperate questions. "Can we finally go home, Leon? Is everybody okay? Where are the others?" Leon looks at his people with a face full of sorrow, struggling to find the words to answer. "We, they," he begins to stammer. A close-up reveals his anguish as he grits his teeth, unable to speak the terrible truth. An extreme close-up on Leon's eyes shows a tear rolling down his cheek, his face streaked with blood from a recent battle. With his back to the crowd, Leon finally delivers the devastating news. There is nothing to go back to. The villagers react with expressions of pure shock, horror, and despair as the chief's words sink in. Overwhelmed by guilt, Leon condemns himself. "I have failed as your chieftain. I should have died with them." As someone tries to console the chief, a young blonde boy named Derek rushes past him, crying out in relief. "Derek, you're alive." He hugs a black-haired man who reassures him. "Of course I am. You didn't think I'd actually die, did you?" In the background, a villager notes that the way Leon had described the monster they fought made it sound like there was no chance of survival. Derek, overjoyed and flustered, pulls back and stammers, No, I'm just happy you're back." The man then turns to a mother and daughter, addressing them by name. "Hey, Mallory and Brandy, right?" After they affirm, he says gently, "I'm sorry for your loss." He holds up his wrist, showing them a storage bracelet. "Before I left, I stored your husband's body in my storage bracelet. You can give him a proper funeral once we're safe." The two women are stunned by this act of kindness. Mallory asks in disbelief, "Funeral? You did that for us?" With gratitude in her somber eyes, Mallory thanks him. "Thank you, that is very kind." The man gives a simple, solemn nod in acknowledgement. The scene transitions to night, with a full moon hanging in the dark, cloudy sky. The survivors have set up a makeshift camp. Two people sit together by the warmth of a campfire. A wider view shows the somber camp. People rest where they can, and a mother and child sleep peacefully by the fire. A conversation takes place near the fire. A man warns, "Stay close to the fire. It's not safe outside the walls at night." Another replies with grim reality, "It's not safe anywhere now." A hand reaches out towards the flickering flames, seeking warmth in the cold, dangerous night. In the darkness, an owl hoots, its call breaking the silence of the tense night. While the others rest, Leon, the defeated chieftain, sits alone on a crate. He stares into the crackling fire, his mind replaying their losses. A close-up on the chieftain Leon's eyes, which reflect the flickering campfire. His expression is hard and intense. By the campfire, the young boy Derek asks the black-haired man a question. "So, what happened to the void beast?" The man responds casually while eating, downplaying the event. "Oh, that thing? Not much. Sure, it was tough and it hit hard. But once it realized it couldn't hurt me either, it jumped back into the sky." Another villager is skeptical of the story. "No way. My grandmother told me stories about them to keep me from wandering into the forest alone. There's no way it just left like that." Another adds that surely there are many who could handle one. A dramatic flashback shows the reality of the encounter. The man standing alone against a terrifying, massive beast wreathed in lightning. Back at the campfire, Mallory agrees with the skeptical villager Thomas. Thomas is right. I've rarely heard of anyone even seeing a void beast, let alone summoning or defeating one. The conversation continues around the fire. The man insists, "I'm just telling you what happened. Maybe I got lucky and summoned a weak one." Mallory questions how that's possible. The man admits, "All I know is that I'm not using that skill again for a very long time." Derek adds that they are creatures of legend, but the man dismisses this, saying, "Legends are overrated." The next morning, Mallory stands on a cart, rallying the group of survivors. "All right, everyone up. Time to get moving. We want to reach Raina's before sundown." As the sun rises, the black-haired man and the young girl Brandy begin walking, while the other villagers watch them go. Brandy gently tugs on the man's arm to get his attention. He turns, asking, She looks up at him and asks, "Can I have some of the animals?" The man looks confused, repeating, "The animals." While holding his hand, Brandy explains, "The ones in your bracelet. I heard you talking with Thomas about them last night." "Don't see why not," the man replies. He activates his bracelet, and a blue magic circle glows as he pulls a dead rabbit from his storage. He hands the rabbit to Brandy, telling her, "I can give you the others later, they're pretty big." She accepts it, saying, "Thank you." The man watches as Brandy holds the rabbit, and he asks her, "Why do you want them anyway?" A memory surfaces, showing a younger, happier Brandy walking through a forest with her father. The sweet memory continues, with her father joyfully showing her a small, cute creature in a field of flowers. Back in the present, tears stream down Brandy's face as she explains, I put my skill point in leatherworking. I want to make armor for the village so that..." A brief flash of her father's smiling face appears from her memory. Brandy finishes her sentence with tearful determination, "So that no one gets hurt." The man looks down at her, his expression softening with understanding. A question hangs in the air. "How do you fix yourself when you're broken?" The man agrees to give her more animals, telling her she can have them all. As he watches her, he has an internal realization. Maybe I can't do everything on my own after all. The scene shifts. A hand taps impatiently on a wooden ledge. An unseen person says with annoyance, for the 12th time, "I don't care." An arrogant-looking official in ornate armor complains loudly, "I've had a bad day, too, you know. Do you have any idea how awful it is to be stuck in this pigsty? I can't even take a scented bath." The official looks down from the ramparts of the fortified gate, addressing the crowd of refugees with bureaucratic indifference. "But that doesn't mean I can let you in without proper identification," he states flatly. "I don't make the rules." His cold refusal pushes Mallory past her breaking point. Her face contorts with fury and desperation as she screams up at him, her voice cracking, "Then go find Raina." The gatekeeper smirks, enjoying the confrontation. "And abandon my esteemed post as gatekeeper? No, I don't think so. Plus, this is the most fun I've had all day." The protagonist turns to the defeated chieftain, Leon. "Shouldn't you say something? You're a chieftain as well, aren't you?" Leon questions his own identity in his despair. "Am I? Could I dare call myself that when I no longer have a village, when I've failed my people?" From the base of the gate, Mallory pleads to the guard in the watchtower, "Please, we have lost everything." The gatekeeper stands with his arms crossed, callously refusing their entry. "No can do, you cannot enter without the proper identification. Graceful decree." The protagonist walks forward, his eyes glowing with a menacing blue light. "Is that so? And who would enforce this decree?" In a close-up, his face is a mask of cold fury as he finishes his threat. "If I were to break it..." Mallory watches in alarm, calling out his name. "Wait, Derek!" She wonders in fear, is he going to kill him? The gatekeeper seems thrilled by the challenge. "Oh, please do try," he taunts. "Teaching you peasants a lesson might just make this dreaded trip worth it." Mallory rushes to stop the protagonist, grabbing his arm. Wait, killing a noble is not worth it, Derek. It would only make things worse. Watching from above, the gatekeeper clicks his tongue in disappointment. A shame, the wench has common sense. Suddenly, the heavy wooden gates begin to groan as they open. The protagonist and Mallory look on in surprise. As footsteps are heard approaching from inside, an authoritative voice booms. What the devil is going on out here? Two figures emerge from the gate, identified by captions. Wallace Gracefall, youngest son of Walter Gracefall, and Raina, village chief. Raina, the village chief, recognizes the refugees. Mallory, what are you all doing here? One of our hunters reported smoke in the direction of your village. Is everything okay? After learning of their fate, Raina offers her sincere condolences. Destroyed, that is, I'm sorry, truly. Raina warmly invites them in. Please come inside, you shall always have a place here. She then gives a sharp order to the noble beside her. Control your thugs, Wallace. These people are under my protection now. As they walk into the town, Mallory thanks the chief. Thank you, Raina. Raina tells her, say no more, we shall talk later in my home. Raina leans in close to Mallory and whispers a cryptic warning. Tread softly, Mal. A different manner of beast is prowling within these walls. Raina glances back, her eyes widening slightly as she sees the defeated chieftain, Leon, walking among the refugees. Wallace angrily confronts Raina for overriding him. You flout my authority so openly, woman. Do not forget your place here. I am here on official business. Raina stands her ground firmly. Then complete your business and be on your way. I will not hinder you there. My place is right here. Yours is back in Torith. Wallace threatens her, clenching his fist. You think you are protected because of laws? I could squash you and everyone in this village like bugs. But Raina coolly retorts, and bring yet more shame upon your house. What would dear old daddy say? Stumped by her comeback, Wallace backs down, muttering, No, you will not do that. He then thinks to himself, I guess this is where my contract with Thomas ends. Meanwhile, the protagonist walks through the village, contemplating his next move. He thinks about leaving for a city to learn about the world, but then admits to himself that he wants to stay with the group. From the gate, Raina calls out to the protagonist. Hey, you, I don't recognize you. Are you going to come in as well? Any friends of Leon and Mallory are welcome here. Taken aback by the direct address, the protagonist seems to finalize his decision. Oh, yeah, I think I will. As the protagonist walks past her into the village, Raina suddenly senses something powerful emanating from him. What is that aura? She thinks to herself. A close-up shows Raina's alarmed expression. She breaks into a sweat, her eyes wide with concern as she recognizes the immense and unusual power the stranger possesses. In a dimly lit room, an elderly woman named Delilah and a man named Richard are sitting at a long table. Delilah, looking impatient, says, She better have a damn good reason for making us wait like this. Richard calmly replies, Relax, dear, I'm sure she does. Delilah taps her foot impatiently on the wooden floor, questioning her husband. Relax. Richard tries to placate his wife, starting to say her name, Delilah, but she cuts him off, her voice filled with worry and frustration as she points at the table. Don't you dare tell me to relax while Thomas is still missing. The captions introduce them as Delilah and Richard, Thomas's grandparents. The sound of a door creaking open interrupts their tense conversation. Both Delilah and Richard turn their heads in surprise towards the sound of the opening door. A woman in armor, their chief Raina, stands at the doorway. Richard, relieved, begins to question her. Finally, Raina, what could possibly be so important that you? Before Richard can finish, Delilah gasps, her eyes widening as tears begin to form. She is looking at something or someone who has just arrived. Their grandson, Thomas, dashes into the room with a wide, joyous smile, shouting, Grandma, Grandpa. Thomas leaps into his grandmother's arms, hugging her tightly. Delilah embraces him, her face filled with relief, as Richard watches with a warm smile. Overcome with emotion, Delilah wipes a tear of joy from her eye. The family shares a heartfelt group hug, a moment of pure relief and happiness. Richard holds them close and says, We missed you, son. As the family reunites, Raina walks in, followed by Derek and another man. She looks at Delilah with a knowing smile and asks, What do you think, Delilah? Was that important enough? The scene shows a split panel with Derek on one side, a faint smile on his face, and a happy, smiling Thomas on the other. As the family's emotional reunion continues in the background with Thomas playfully complaining about the kisses, Derek watches with an amused smirk. He pulls out a chair and says, "Everyone take your seats." Everyone is now gathered around the table. Reina, at the head of the table, addresses the group with a serious tone. "We have important matters to discuss." Reina turns to Derek and begins, "Sir Derek, from what Mallory's told me, you're the reason Thomas and the refugees from Leon's village are alive." With her eyes closed and head slightly bowed, Reina expresses her deep appreciation. "For that, we are eternally grateful." At the table, Richard lovingly ruffles Thomas's hair. Thomas looks flustered and says, "You're so embarrassing, Grandpa," while Delilah looks on with a gentle smile. Derek replies with a confident smirk, dismissing the praise. "It was nothing," he says, "and drop the sir, just Derek is fine." A close-up on Reina's determined eyes reveals her sense of duty as she states, "It is the duty of a chief to safeguard their people." She places her hands firmly on the table, leaning forward as she continues with a heavy word, "However." Reina explains their difficult situation to Derek. "If you are doing this for payment, I'm afraid I can offer no such thing." Seen through a window frame, Reina looks weary as she admits, "We are stretched thin enough as it is." Meanwhile, in a completely different setting, an extravagantly dressed aristocrat lounges in a lush garden, condescendingly ordering a farmer-like server to bring another drink. When the server tries to speak, the aristocrat cuts them off with disdain. Fine. If I give you a copper, will you do it without talking to me?" The scene cuts back to the tense meeting, where Derek, unfazed by Reina's confession of poverty, smirks and repeats her word back to her as a question, "Payment." Derek casually dismisses the idea of payment, pointing a thumb at himself. As far as I'm concerned, Thomas already covered that. The boy helped me, so I was helping him. That's all there is to it. Thomas, sitting beside him, enthusiastically agrees. That's right. With his arms crossed, Derek leans back and shifts the conversation to a more serious topic. "What you should really be worried about is your forest problem." Reina leans over the table, her interest piqued. "The forest problem?" she asks. "Do you know what's going on with it?" From an overhead view of the meeting table, Derek states, "I have an idea." He thinks to himself, revealing a hint about his origins. "If this is anything like my old system, that is." Derek looks at them with a grave expression, delivering his ominous theory in 2 words. "A dungeon break." The scene transitions to a conceptual explanation, showing a glowing purple orb floating in a dark, starry sky. Text captions begin to explain, "Dungeons, the lifeblood of the system." The explanation continues over a landscape filled with glittering gold coins and the looming shadows of monsters, sources of treasure, power, and danger. The screen is filled with the menacing silhouettes of various monsters, emphasizing the danger aspect of dungeons. A group of adventurers, a warrior, a mage, an archer, are shown battling monsters before a glowing dungeon core. The narration explains, each one is a self-contained world, crafted by the system to test, torment, and reward those brave enough to enter. The glowing dungeon core sparks with energy. Text explains the rules. Only adventurers that are lower level than this dungeon can enter to ensure maximum challenge. It then sets up the premise for the problem. But when the system falters, or a dungeon is left to sit and fester, the dungeon core erupts in a blinding flash of purple light, a catastrophic event simply described as chaos. A red-eyed dragon begins to emerge from the light. As the light expands, hordes of monsters are silhouetted, pouring out from the breach. The consequences are laid bare. Monsters spill into the world, and its power infects the land around it. The montage concludes with a terrifying, abstract image of a demonic face with glowing yellow eyes, representing the chaos and corruption of a dungeon break. Returning to the meeting, Reina expresses her doubt. "What? If there was a dungeon, we would have known about it." Derek, smirking, challenges her assumption. "That may be so, but who says there can't be new dungeons?" Richard puts his hands together thoughtfully, considering Derek's words. "New dungeons appearing is rare, but not unheard of," he muses. "If a dungeon spawned deep in the forest where few adventurers go." A close-up on Richard's face shows sweat beading on his brow as the horrifying realization dawns on him. It would explain everything, he says, his eyes wide with fear. Reina stands over the map, looking to the elder for confirmation. You think he's right, Richard? He replies grimly. It may be far-fetched, but it's the only thing that makes sense. Reina points to a spot on the map, turning the questioning back on Derek in an attempt to gauge his knowledge. Where did you say you were from again, Derek? Derek bluntly replies, I didn't, as he scoots his chair back from the table. He stands up, already detaching himself from the problem. Anyway, now that you have an idea of the problem, you need to find a way to fix it. Derek turns and walks toward the door, gesturing dismissively. Who knows, maybe those pricks outside can handle it, he says with a cynical tone. That is why they're here, isn't it? Delilah watches him leave, a worried expression on her face. Just as Derek is about to leave, Reina calls out desperately, Wait! Derek stops, a bead of sweat on his temple, clearly annoyed by the interruption. With the whole room watching, Reina pleads with him, acknowledging his capabilities while admitting their powerlessness. You're strong. I know we can offer nothing, but... Reina places a hand over her heart, her expression sincere and desperate as she makes her final appeal. Could you help us? A close-up captures Derek letting out an exasperated sigh, visibly burdened by their desperate request. With his back turned to them, Derek reaches for the door and delivers his crushing one-word answer, shattering their hopes. No. Back at the table, Thomas looks down, his face a picture of disappointment after Derek's abrupt departure. From outside, Derek calls back, but only for the boy. Tommy, walk with me. Thomas looks up, surprised by the summons. As Derek walks out into the evening, Thomas runs to follow him. Derek reveals his true, personal motive. I need to find that little girl. I have some more animal pelts to give her. The wooden door slams shut, leaving the rest of the council in stunned silence. Inside the now somber room, Richard breaks the silence, speaking to Reina. He's right, you know. Reina sighs, frustrated. Yeah, but he doesn't have to be so upfront about it. From the end of the table, Delilah adds with urgency, we need to figure out what to do, and fast. Richard turns to Leon, the chief of the refugees. Leon, you've spent the most time with that man. Reina also turns to Leon, seeking his insight. Now that he's gone, what's your take on him? Leon is quiet for a moment, his expression grim as he considers the question. He finally speaks, listing Derek's perplexing traits. I don't know. He asks a lot of basic questions. He's sarcastic, moody, and... Reina leans forward, sensing there's more to it. And what? She presses. A bead of sweat runs down Leon's temple as he reveals the most unnerving fact about Derek. And he can summon the void. The scene shifts to a wide view of the village street as dusk settles, the sky painted with orange and blue hues. Derek walks casually through the village, humming a tune, with Thomas following closely behind him. Derek glances around looking for the girl he wants to find. This place is not that big, Tommy. Where is she? Thomas, looking lost, stammers. I don't know.
Suddenly a harsh voice
yells from a nearby alleyway, cutting Thomas off. Let go, you mangy little rat. Derek immediately stops and turns toward the sound. In the alley, a well-dressed man and woman are bullying a small girl, trying to rip a large, high-quality animal pelt from her grasp. It's mine. He gave it to me. The girl protests. The man sneers. A peasant like you would ruin a high-level pelt like this, while grunting and tugging at the prize. With a final, violent yank, the bully rips the pelt from the little girl's hands. He holds it up triumphantly with a smug grin, saying, There, that wasn't so hard, now was it? The little girl, now kneeling on the ground, demands, Give it back. The bully scoffs. Or what? He then adds a threat, revealing a larger plot. Wallace has been itching for an excuse to teach your chief a lesson. While the little girl watches helplessly from the ground, the bully turns and arrogantly drapes the stolen pelt over his arm, admiring his prize. As the bully turns to leave, he walks straight into an immovable object with a loud bonk. He recoils from the impact, angrily yelling, Ow, watch where you're going, you. The bully's anger instantly turns to sheer terror. He looks up, trembling, his face pale with fear as he stares at the person he ran into, Derek. From Derek, a single, cold command hangs in the air. Drop. With eyes glowing a terrifying blue, Derek glares down at the bully, his face radiating pure rage. He finishes his command with chilling menace. The goddamn pelt. The air itself seems to darken as the word doom emanates from his presence, ending the chapter on a climactic note. A sword is stabbed forcefully into the ground as a voice cries out, "This is unacceptable." The scene reveals a group of armored nobles. Their leader, a white-haired man named Wallace, angrily demands justice, questioning how a commoner would dare to touch a noble. Wallace's face is contorted with rage as he issues a dire threat. "Move out of the way, Reina, or heads will roll." A woman in a red dress, Reina, bravely stands her ground, ordering Wallace to stand down. She firmly states, "I will not allow you to fight within my village," while in the background, villagers hold back the dark-haired protagonist, Derek. As a woman holds Derek back, she looks on with a worried expression, thinking, "Damn it, this man is here for less than a day and he's already causing trouble." Reina watches the unfolding events with a grim expression, confirming her own thoughts. Leon was right to be wary of him. Overwhelmed by the threatening presence of the nobles, a village woman begins to cry, comforted by a young boy. Ignoring Reina's plea, Wallace menacingly walks forward, sword in hand, declaring, "So be it." Suddenly a hand reaches out and grabs the wrist of one of the nobles, stopping them in their tracks. A voice says, "Here." Wallace contemptuously tosses the woman he was holding to the ground in front of Derek, callously saying, "You can have her." Derek calmly faces Wallace, with Reina and the rest of the villagers behind him, and announces, "I was just about to leave the village anyway." The young boy, Tommy, and his mother look shocked by Derek's sudden announcement. Tommy cries out, "What? But you said." Derek turns to the boy with a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Tommy, I'll be back," he says, advising him to eat his vegetables, listen to his grandparents, and train hard. He then hands Tommy a pair of bladed training guards, adding, "Practice with these while I'm gone, too." As Derek and Reina walk away, he gives Tommy one last instruction. "And don't unlock your system until I get back, okay?" Tommy quietly agrees. Derek turns his attention back to the noble. Wallace smirks and begins to say, "Derek, was it? You're lucky I..." Before Wallace can finish his sentence, Derek appears right in front of him in a flash, cutting him off with, "I'm gonna stop you right there." The scene freezes on the tense standoff, with Wallace and his men stopped in their tracks by Derek's sudden move. Leaning in close, Derek speaks to Wallace in a low, menacing tone. "I'll keep this short and simple, so even an idiot like yourself will understand. If you ever lay a finger on anyone from this village again, I will kill you." The threat hangs in the air, and Wallace's eyes widen in sheer terror as the killing intent washes over him. Wallace's terrified henchmen can only look on in shock, wondering to themselves, "Who is this man?" Even from a distance, Reina can feel the immense pressure emanating from Derek, a presence that fills her with. The terrifying aura radiates outwards, causing Tommy, his mother, and the other villagers to look on with expressions of pure fear and awe. Terror, a palpable purple aura of dread surrounds Derek, a clear display of his overwhelming power as he turns to leave the village. Shaken but resolute, Wallace watches Derek depart. He gives an order to his subordinate, "Follow him." The henchman simply nods, preparing to track their target. As Derek walks into the forest, he recalls a conversation. Thomas said something about an achievement for killing something over 100 levels higher than you. I'll probably need to walk pretty far into the forest to find something that high. Unbeknownst to him, Wallace's archer, Jeffrey, is perched in a tree, watching him and chuckling. Derek, meanwhile, continues his thoughts, "But I should definitely do it now, while I'm still technically a low level." Jeffrey pulls back the string of his bow, the wood creaking with tension as he prepares to fire. Taking aim, the overconfident archer scoffs, "Night, night, peasant. You'll never even know what hit you." He releases the arrow, which flies through the air with a swift sound. The arrow speeds towards an oblivious Derek, who is busy looking at his system screen. "I've leveled up quite a few times already," he thinks. "I'll have to find a monster at least level 112. I'm gonna be walking for a while." His status window shows his details. Derek Hunt, level 11 class, champion of the Void Epic with 40 stat points remaining. He considers, maybe it's time I distributed a few of these stat points. A close-up shows Derek's calm, blue eyes as the arrowhead gets closer and closer. Despite the imminent danger, Derek's expression is merely one of mild curiosity. Oh, he thinks. He was aware of his follower all along. He finally decided to do something. Took him long enough. He's been following me for over an hour. Just as the arrow is about to strike his shoulder, it seemingly hits a system window that Derek has pulled up. Completely unfazed, he allocates his points. Let's see. 5 in wisdom, 2 in intelligence, 4 in dexterity, 2 in strength, and 9 in endurance. Instantly, 2 notifications appear. He's unlocked the Jack of All achievement for getting all stats over 200, and the Meat Shield achievement for getting endurance and vitality over 500. A cartoonish version of Derek celebrates excitedly. 2 free skills, he exclaims in delight. Jeffrey the Archer stares from his hiding spot in complete shock. What? How did I miss? I never missed. Did he dodge? He wonders before dismissing the idea as impossible. Believing his target is just oblivious, Jeffrey scoffs. Doesn't matter anyway. The idiot didn't even notice. As he takes aim again, he fires another arrow, sending it flying with incredible speed towards Derek. But this time, the arrow explodes harmlessly against some kind of barrier, just before reaching Derek. Derek turns, his expression one of annoyance. Do you mind? He thinks, irritated. I'm in the middle of picking a new skill. Struck with fear and confusion, Jeffrey can only stammer, "Why you? H, how did that's not?" Panic sets in, and the archer immediately turns to make his escape from the tree branch. With a desperate nope, he leaps from his perch and flees into the woods. Jeffrey frantically leaps through the trees, trying to put as much distance as possible between himself and the monstrous target. As he escapes, he thinks in terror, who the hell is this monster? Did I lose him? Jeffrey's frantic escape comes to a sudden halt as he finds Derek perched on a branch directly in his path. While Derek calmly contemplates, should I choose stone skin or magic resistance? A terrified Jeffrey lets out a scream and lunges forward in a desperate attack. Driven by fear, Jeffrey attacks, lunging upwards towards the branch where Derek sits. However, Derek, still in a relaxed posture, casually extends his foot and effortlessly parries the desperate strike. Jeffrey screams, "Get the hell away from me!" But Derek effortlessly dodges him while still lost in thought. Or maybe thorns. His thorns a good skill. To steady himself, Jeffrey grabs onto a thick tree branch. He lands on the branch, preparing for another, more desperate attack. With a powerful leap, he unleashes a special move, shouting, "Deadeye's Barrage." A shower of magical arrows rains down from the sky, aimed directly at Derek's position. Derek gracefully leaps out of the way, landing on a lower branch. He looks up and says mockingly, "Really? Calling out the name of your skill? Kinda lame." The arrows slam into the tree with a massive explosion, obliterating the spot where Derek just was. Jeffrey lands, panting from the effort. He looks at the destruction and wonders, did I? He hopefully asks himself, did I get him? As smoke billows from the tree. A relaxed voice from above answers, almost. Jeffrey looks up in shock to see Derek sitting casually on a higher branch, completely unscathed. Suddenly, Jeffrey is struck down by an unseen force. Derek's voice rings out, "Too bad I already chose magic resistance." Later, a battered and defeated Jeffrey stumbles back towards the village. As he approaches the gate, groaning in pain, a voice yells out, "What the hell happened to you, Jeffrey?" Wallace rushes to support his injured man, demanding, "Did you kill him?" Jeffrey can only weakly answer, "No." With a face full of bruises and terror, Jeffrey admits his utter defeat. "I couldn't even scratch him." Wallace is left speechless, his eyes wide with disbelief and growing fear at the power gap. His arrogance shattered, Wallace turns to his remaining knights and makes a decision. "Gather your things, we're going back to Torith." One of his men asks in surprise, "We're fleeing." Wallace glares, his expression grim and determined. "No, we're getting reinforcements." The scene transitions, showing a peaceful sunset over the forest. As night falls, Derek continues his journey, walking alongside a serene, glowing stream deep within the woods. He decides to train one of his skills, pointing at random objects and repeatedly saying, "Identify." After identifying a rock and a tree, he receives a notification that his Identify skill has leveled up. He then spots a new creature, a small white rabbit with a horn, and begins to use his skill on it. Identify. The system window appears, identifying the seemingly innocent creature as a horned rabbit, level 54. Crouching down, Derek speaks to the rabbit in a gentle voice. "Hey there, little fella. What are you doing out here in these big rotten woods?" A close-up shows the horned rabbit's adorable, sparkling eyes, giving it a completely harmless appearance. Charmed by the creature, Derek smiles and thinks, "You're actually pretty cute. Even if you were over level 112, I might not kai." Before he can even finish his thought, the deceptively cute rabbit lunges at him with incredible speed, its horn glowing as it aims for a killing blow. In the middle of a forest, Derek Hunt finds himself facing off against a small, white-horned creature. The creature, a horned rabbit, suddenly glows with a blue aura and lunges forward to attack. With a whoosh, the horned rabbit flies directly at Derek's face, its horn pointed forward like a spear. Derek quickly dodges the attack, surprised by the creature's aggression. "What the hell?" he exclaims. Having missed its target, the horned rabbit crashes into a large tree trunk with a loud crunch. Derek, annoyed by the unprovoked assault, shouts, "What did I ever do to you?" as the horned rabbit launches itself at him again. The horned rabbit skids to a halt, its eyes gleaming as it prepares for its next move. A close-up shows the horned rabbit's determined and angry face as it huffs, ready for a fight. Derek smirks, wiping his nose with his thumb as if accepting the challenge. "All right, fine," he says. "You wanna go?" The horned rabbit lets out a determined growl. Seeing this, Derek rolls up his sleeves and gets into a fighting stance, declaring, "Let's go." With a powerful boom, the horned rabbit shoots a bright blue beam of energy from its horn. Derek skillfully dodges the multiple energy beams that the horned rabbit fires in rapid succession. He continues to weave through the barrage of attacks, closing the distance between him and the creature. In a swift move, Derek snatches the horned rabbit right out of the air, its attack cut short. He holds the squirming creature in his hands. "You're a little daredevil, aren't ya?" he says with a grin. The horned rabbit retaliates by fiercely biting down on Derek's thumb. A system window pops up, showing 26 damage. Derek Hunt's health bar reflects the minor damage, now at 5224 out of 5250. Derek looks at the creature unfazed by the bite. "Haha, 26, that's nothing," he scoffs. But then a thought suddenly strikes him. "Wait," he thinks to himself, his expression turning serious. He realizes something important. That may be nothing to me, but to someone like Thomas, that could kill him. Derek holds up the horned rabbit, its angry glare meeting his now thoughtful expression. He gently places the rabbit on the ground, making a decision. "I'm just gonna leave you right here." Derek turns and walks away, leaving the creature behind. "Bye-bye, Psycho Murder Bunny. You're not nearly high enough level to be worth killing." Left alone, the horned rabbit sits on the ground, its expression a mix of anger and frustration. As Derek walks through the woods, he pulls up his skill menu ready to make a choice. Which restorative skill should I choose?" he wonders. "My defensive skill, Magic Resist, already came in quite handy." He ponders his next move with a slight, confident smirk, thinking, as he prepares to select a new skill. A system window appears before Derek, showing him the available restorative skills. He has 3 options: Cure Toxin, Life Leech, and Rejuvenation. Derek is unimpressed. Only 3 options? Stingy system, he thinks. He first considers Cure Toxin, represented by a cobra and a cross. Curing poisons and toxins? Nah, he dismisses. His attention moves to the next skill, Life Leech, which is depicted by a Grim Reaper figure. He considers Life Leech, thinking, heal myself based on the damage I do? Maybe. Then he examines Rejuvenation, which shows a targeted healing spell. A targeted heal, not bad, he notes before weighing his options. Life Leech would almost certainly heal me more, but... With a thoughtful and serious expression, Derek strokes his chin as he makes his final decision. With a decisive ding, he taps his finger on the Rejuvenation skill, selecting it. A notification confirms Rejuvenation learned successfully. As a memory of his old, smiling companions appears, Derek thinks, just in case I need to heal someone else. He immediately regrets the selfless thought, sighing as sweat drips down his face. Damn it, if I'm taking this, why did I leave, he asks himself, for a damn achievement. Standing alone under the moonlight, he questions his actions. I finally meet people after how many years alone, and I just what? Run away into the woods. What is wrong with me? God, no. Derek grits his teeth, fighting back the wave of regret and forcing himself to stop thinking about it. He tries to justify his decision to stay alone. I just would have caused them issues by staying there. For God's sake, I nearly got them killed by that void beast. It's better like this for now. His eyes narrow with determination, hardening his resolve to continue on his solitary path. Suddenly, with a loud thwack, something slams into Derek's side, knocking him off his feet and making him spit up blood. "What the hell?" Derek shouts, looking up just in time to see the horned rabbit whoosh past him, having delivered the blow. He turns to find the rabbit staring at him with an angry, defiant look. "You're still following me?" Derek asks in disbelief. "Do you have a grudge or something?" Before Derek can react further, the horned rabbit attacks again, but this time it fires its energy beam past him. "Whoa!" he exclaims. The beam strikes its true target, a grotesque, decaying wolf that was sneaking up to ambush Derek from the bushes. A close-up shows the horned rabbit's smug, almost evil-looking eyes as it prepares to bite the fallen wolf. Derek looks on in shock as the creature lets out a howl, its bones cracking while the rabbit whimpers with glee, brutally finishing it off. Covered in the wolf's blood, the horned rabbit happily hops back towards Derek, who can only stare in disbelief. "I thought bunnies were herbivores." Derek breaks into a nervous sweat as he revises his opinion on the creature. This bunny is a psychopath and an idiot. The blood-spattered horned rabbit sits proudly, its fur stained red and a sparkle in its eye, looking completely pleased with itself. Derek finally relents with a shrug and a thumbs up. "All right, fine, tag along," he sighs, "but you better not slow me down." And so the two of them journey onward together, Derek walking with a newfound companion hopping faithfully behind him. As evening falls, they make camp. Derek cooks a piece of meat over a campfire while the horned rabbit watches on, waiting patiently. In a montage of their journey, the horned rabbit is shown to be a ferocious hunter, at one point rocketing through a monstrous boar, killing it instantly. Despite its violent nature, the rabbit allows Derek to affectionately scratch its head. It puts on a grumpy face but seems to enjoy the attention. After a long day of traveling, Derek rests by the campfire, using the horned rabbit as a furry pillow. The horned rabbit is shown again in action, shooting off like a bullet to hunt another beast while Derek watches on. Their journey takes them deeper into a dark, misty forest. Derek gives a big yawn and stretches as they prepare for the day. Derek turns to his companion, now fully embracing its nature. "Come on, Murder Bunny, let's go," he says. But the horned rabbit suddenly stops, planting itself firmly on the ground, refusing to move forward. Derek turns around, a bead of sweat running down his face as he senses the change. "Huh," he says, confused by the rabbit's sudden halt. He looks out at the path ahead and understands. The forest has become a barren wasteland, with gnarled, dead roots covering the ground like skeletal veins. "I see," Derek says with a knowing smirk. "So this is the point in the forest where you'll no longer follow me. Is that right?" The horned rabbit confirms his suspicion with a defiant stamp of its foot, its expression resolute. Derek waves a casual goodbye to his companion. "I'd say good luck, but I don't think anything in this forest stands a chance against you." As he walks away alone into the desolate landscape, he glances back at the rabbit. "I suppose this was bound to happen eventually," he thinks to himself. Now truly alone, his confident demeanor fades, replaced by a flicker of anxiety. "Calm down, Derek," he tells himself. His mind flashes back to a traumatic memory. He's running in terror under a swirling purple sky dominated by a giant, eye-like void. A voice haunts him. "You're not trapped anymore. You're alone, but only because you want to be." The vision continues, showing his silhouette walking towards the endless void as the voice concludes, "You choose to be." Snapping back to reality, his attention is caught by a strange phenomenon ahead, a swirling green orb of light hovering in the air. Derek's eyes lock onto the orb. "There it is," he says, already knowing what it is. "Identify." A system window confirms his suspicion. It's an undying dungeon, level 100, currently in a state of extreme overflow with unknown rewards. He looks at the dungeon with a grim expression. I'd almost certainly find something high enough level for the achievement in there, but there's no way I'm going in. He walks away from the glowing orb, his past trauma resurfacing. I have no gauge for how strong dungeons are in this world. What if I get trapped again? The reward isn't worth the risk. I should head back, he decides, thinking of the people he left behind. Those noble assholes should be gone, and Thomas might have already unlocked his system by now. As he turns to leave, a sizzling droplet of acid falls from above. Convinced he's made the right choice, he thinks, this whole journey was a waste. But before he can take a step, a massive horned creature, the acidic ghoul, bursts from the ground with a roar, its body wreathed in green, corrosive energy. The ambush doesn't faze him. Wiping a splash of acid from his cheek, Derek flashes a predatory grin, the sizzle of the acid on his glove unheard over his excitement. Ah, hello there. A system window displays the creature's name and level. Acidic ghoul, level 115. Its skull-like face glows with menacing green energy, its sharp teeth promising a tough fight. Derek's fear is gone, replaced by a look of pure predatory excitement. With a wide grin, he welcomes the challenge, saying, "You're exactly what I've been looking for." In the middle of a decaying forest, Derek smirks, a visible bruise on his cheek. He seems to have found what he was looking for. Before him stands the acidic ghoul, a fearsome level 115 skeletal monster wreathed in green spectral flames, its eyes glowing with a menacing light. Derek looks at the ghoul with a confident grin. "You're exactly what I've been looking for." He grips his spear, his expression turning fierce. "I've been holding in this frustration for too long." The acidic ghoul lets out a horrifying roar as Derek continues. "And what I really want is something to take it out on." A vibrant blue energy begins to swirl around Derek, ready for battle. The acidic ghoul lunges forward, while Derek, enveloped in his energy, charges to meet it head-on. The two combatants clash with incredible force, the ghoul's immense size towering over Derek. With a powerful swing of his spear, Derek slices clean through the acidic ghoul's arm. Unfazed, Derek looks up at the monster with a mocking smirk. "Is that all you got?" He continues his taunt. "I was expecting more from a level hunter." Suddenly, the ghoul's severed arm regenerates, and it lunges forward, catching Derek off guard. The creature's massive claw grabs Derek, lifting him off the ground. The acidic ghoul's eyes glow with a menacing red light as it swings its other claw, unleashing a powerful attack. Derek grunts in pain as the attack hits him squarely, the force of the blow sending him flying. He twists in midair, narrowly dodging another swift attack from the relentless ghoul. Derek slides to a halt on the ground, taking a moment to catch his breath. "All right," he says, acknowledging the creature's strength. Now covered in more cuts and bruises, Derek looks up with a grim smile. "Maybe you're a little stronger than I thought, that's fine." Blue energy erupts around him once more, even more intensely this time. "More fun for me." The acidic ghoul looms over him, preparing another devastating claw swipe. Derek's eyes widen as he braces for the incoming horizontal slash. He holds his spear defensively, managing to block the ghoul's powerful strike. The impact shatters part of his armor, and Derek grunts with effort as he's pushed back by the sheer force of the blow. His eyes now glowing with the same blue energy that surrounds him, Derek gathers power into his spear, preparing to unleash a decisive counterattack. He thrusts his spear forward, releasing a massive beam of energy that engulfs the acidic ghoul, which roars in agony as it's blasted backward. The acidic ghoul is thrown back, its body already starting to disintegrate from the force of Derek's powerful attack. As the ghoul hisses and dissolves, acid splashes onto Derek. He yells out in frustration and disbelief, "You call yourself a level 115. Derek grits his teeth in pain as the acid sizzles and melts through his tattered clothing and armor. His eyes begin to glow with a furious purple energy as he questions, "Is this what passes for strength in this system?" He squeezes the handle of his spear, and a brilliant purple void energy erupts around him. A sinister smile spreads across his face, his eyes glowing intensely. "Don't make me laugh," he scoffs. The acidic ghoul lets out one final, agonizing roar as it is consumed by Derek's overwhelming void energy. Derek unleashes the full extent of his power, sending a massive pillar of purple energy straight through the monster, completely obliterating it. The immense energy blast rumbles through the desolate forest, tearing up the ground and surrounding trees. As the light subsides, Derek stands panting, his clothes in tatters, surrounded by the swirling remnants of his void power. A series of system notifications appear. You have killed level 115 acidic ghoul, 4,345 experience gained. This is immediately followed by 4 consecutive level up messages. Another window pops up. Achievement unlocked, Greater Giant Slayer. You've slain a creature 100 levels above your own, plus 2 skill points. Standing in the crater left by his attack, Derek looks at the dissipating energy and curses. Damn it. On the ground, puddles of the ghoul's acid continue to sizzle, a reminder of the tough battle. Derek looks down at his battered and corroded armor, sighing in frustration. The acid ruined my armor even more. A blue light envelops his body as he decides to unequip the armor. I'll have to store it until I can get it repaired, whenever that will be. Now shirtless and covered in blood and grime, Derek pulls off what's left of his shirt. Dang, this shirt's toast too. He looks at the ruined piece of clothing, lamenting. I should have bought more while I was still on Earth. I really don't want to wear one of those darn tunics. Bare-chested, Derek holds the tattered remains of his shirt, a look of resignation on his face after the intense fight. The scene transitions to a peaceful, sunlit village. A caption reads, 2 weeks since Derek left Raina's village. A woman's voice asks, almost done, Thomas? A nervous-looking young villager named Thomas licks his lips and replies, almost. A young, blonde-haired boy named Brandy makes a final swipe with an electric razor, exclaiming, finished. He holds up the modern-looking electric razor, a piece of technology likely brought by Derek. Brandy presents his work asking, what do you think? Thomas remains silent, carefully examining the fresh haircut in a handheld mirror with an uncertain look. Suddenly, Thomas's face lights up with joy. I love it, he exclaims, then enthusiastically calls out to the nearby villagers. If anyone else needs one, send them my way. His loud promotion is sure to attract some attention. Nearby, a woman with reddish-brown hair named Raina sighs with exasperation. I can't believe everyone's letting you do that to their hair. Brandy, holding up his razor, cheerfully offers, if you want, I could always. Raina's expression darkens immediately, and a menacing aura surrounds her as she glares at Brandy, warning him with a deadly tone, don't even think about it. Brandy throws his hands up in surrender, a nervous blush on his face. Okay, I'll stop offering, he says quickly. Raina, satisfied, simply replies, good. Raina sighs again, this time with a weary look as she gazes at her crafting tools laid out on the table. She asks Brandy, though seemingly to herself, everything okay, Brandy? She looks over at him with a tired expression. Yeah, I just think I've done everything I can with the hides Derek gave me. The sunlight glints off her well-used tools and rolls of leather. I've used and reused them to death. I don't think any would survive another try. I need him to bring me some more. Brandy leans against the table. I feel you. I hope Derek gets back soon. My 13th birthday was 2 days ago. I really want to unlock the great system already. Raina looks at him thoughtfully, a small frog appearing in her thought bubble. Didn't your grandpa catch you a frog to kill? Brandy smiles confidently. Yeah, but it was only level 7, so I had to tell him no. He was disappointed, but Derek asked me to wait to unlock it until he got back. He and Raina look out towards the horizon as the sun sets. Brandy adds with certainty, I know he'll find something even better for me. The scene shifts to a different location at sunset, a place identified as Leon's village, not far from where Derek had his battle. A mysterious cloaked figure, a hunter, steps onto the edge of the battlefield, their boots treading on the disturbed ground. The hunter kneels and swipes a hand over the earth, sensing the lingering energy from the fight. As their fingers trace the ground, they pick up on the faint purple residue of void energy. The void beast, the hunter murmurs. The hunter clenches their fist, realizing the beast is gone. Someone killed it here, but this second energy I'm sensing. The hunter pats the ground, tracing the direction of the second, unfamiliar energy signature left by Derek. It leads toward. Now moving swiftly, surrounded by a golden aura, the hunter finishes their thought as they begin tracking Derek's trail. The other village. Derek walks through a dense, misty forest, reflecting on his last fight. He thinks to himself, man, that ghoul really did a number on my ad hoc. It ate through it with no problem. As he continues on his path, Derek grimaces, thinking that dungeon will be a pain to clear. Suddenly, he stops, sensing something ahead. Huh, he says aloud. His eyes widen in surprise, a bead of sweat running down his face. Did you? He begins to ask. Before him, sitting in the middle of the path, is the small, horned rabbit. Derek finishes his question. Wait here for me. The horned rabbit emphatically stomps its foot on the ground, sending a clear message. A smirk plays on Derek's lips as he sizes up the small creature. Should I be concerned? He muses. Did you do that because you like me? Or because you want to kill before he can finish his thought, the rabbit unleashes a powerful beam of energy. Whoa! Derek exclaims, quickly snatching the creature out of the air. Holding the feisty rabbit in one hand, Derek lectures it. All right, listen here, dumbass. You better cut that out. I promised someone I'd bring them back a high-level monster to kill, and unless you start behaving. Derek's expression turns menacing as he grins at the rabbit. You're looking like the prime candidate, he finishes. The horned rabbit breaks out in a cold sweat, its eyes wide with terror at Derek's threat. Derek pokes the rabbit's chest while setting some ground rules. You can stay with me while I'm in the forest, but you can't follow me into the village. I don't trust you not to torpedo yourself at every person you see. He continues to poke the rabbit, whose soul seems to momentarily leave its body in annoyance. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Derek insists. Derek lets out a weary sigh, a bead of sweat on his brow, clearly exasperated with the difficult creature. He says, whatever, as he gently sets the horned rabbit back down on the ground. Derek begins to run, calling back to the rabbit, "Follow me, idiot." The little creature obediently hops along behind him. While jogging, Derek touches his chin thoughtfully. He thinks, actually, I'm tired of calling you bunny or idiot. Let's give you a new name. He asks the rabbit, you like the idea of that? In response, the creature leaps through the air with excitement. Later, Derek rests by a campfire with the rabbit sleeping soundly on his stomach. He brainstorms names. What about Snowball, maybe Bella? He immediately recoils in horror at his own suggestions, blood spatter on his face. Dear God, no, that doesn't fit you at all. Derek looks over at the cause for his reaction. The rabbit is happily feasting on the bloody carcass of a large undead forest bear, level 59. He thinks, let's see. Standing with the rabbit on a cliff at sunset, Derek continues to ponder. You're insane and try to kill everything. Dingbat, no, too weird. Beelzebunny, nah, too long. Then inspiration strikes. Wait. Derek's face lights up with a triumphant smile. I got it, the perfect name, he says. He kneels before the rabbit. A trail of blood drops from its last meal on the ground between them. With a formal air, he announces, from henceforth, the bunny previously known as Idiot shall now be referred to as. The name Sylvie hangs in the air. The newly christened rabbit, still stained with blood from its meal, looks up, seemingly accepting its new identity. And with that, a new partnership is forged. Derek leads the way, calling out to his companion, come, Sylvie, there are things that need headbutting. The small rabbit happily hops along, officially starting their journey together. 1 week later, Derek and Sylvie walk down a path leading to a wooden bridge, presumably towards the village. Derek is carrying a small, squeaky toy. At the edge of the forest, Derek stops. He holds up the toy, which looks like a chipmunk, and says to his companion, I guess this is Sylvie. Derek looks at Sylvie with a serious expression. I can't let you come to the village with me, he explains. You'd cause a massacre. He instructs her, so, stay here in the forest. Sylvie looks up at him, listening. He reassures her, don't worry, I'll be back in a few days. Derek offers the squeaking chipmunk toy to Sylvie, whose eyes gleam with malice. If you're still here, maybe we can travel together again, he says, trying to strike a deal. He wipes the toy, a gentle smile on his face as he admits, you know, despite everything, I'm gonna miss. Suddenly, with a loud boom, Sylvie launches herself headfirst into a thick tree, completely ignoring the toy. A shocked Derek can only yell, what the hell? As the tree crashes down, Derek stands on the wooden bridge and shouts in exasperation. Stay in the forest, you psychopath. Derek looks down at the level 50 woodland chipmunk toy with frustration while Sylvie stands defiantly behind him. Idiot bunny, we were having a moment, he mutters. I should let Thomas kill you instead of this darn chipmunk. Derek approaches the tall wooden wall of the village. A guard posted on top spots him and yells, "You." The guard challenges him, "Halt, who are you, what do you need?" Standing below, Derek calmly introduces himself. "I'm Derek, you may have heard of me, I'm just getting back." Derek tells the guard, no need to go through the trouble of opening the gate, as he bends his knees into a deep squat. The guard yells, "What?" but is cut short as Derek leaps powerfully into the air, soaring over the palisade. The guard can only look on in disbelief, exclaiming, "Huh." As Derek lands atop the wooden wall, his foot slips on the edge, causing him to lose his balance. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," he yelps. The quick-thinking guard immediately reaches out and catches Derek's arm, steadying him and preventing a fall. Derek grins at the guard who helped him. "Careful there," he says, then adds with a smile, "and nice haircut." The guard, looking flustered, stammers, "Th thanks." Safely on the wall, Derek leaps down into the village grounds below as the guard watches from his post. Now inside the village, Derek cups his hands to his mouth and shouts, "Oi, Thomas, I'm back." A villager yells, "Watch where you're going, Thomas." As a young boy with blonde hair, Thomas skids to a halt. Another villager calls out, "Derek." Another villager says, "Oof," as Thomas runs past. Hearing the commotion, other people exclaim, "Derek's back." A young, red-haired girl, Brandy, joins Thomas as they both rush towards Derek. Thomas and Brandy excitedly surround Derek, talking all at once. Thomas boasts, "I've been practicing with the Mana clippers, just like you asked. Guess what? I got my leatherworking skill all the way to level 5. It's almost the highest in the village. Brandy wouldn't let me cut her hair, but I cut a bunch of other people's." The excited children continue to bombard him. Thomas asks, "What did you get me? You said you'd find something high level, right? I ran out of hide, I used them all so much." Brandy eagerly chimes in. "Grandpa got one for me, but I was waiting for you, Derek. It was hard at first, but I got better. Do you have a knife I can have, Derek, do you?" They both look up at him with pleading eyes, asking in unison, "Are you proud of me, Derek? Please, Derek." Overwhelmed by their enthusiasm, Derek gives a strained smile and a hesitant nod, muttering, "Ahu." Thomas pumps his fist, declaring, "Yes, I want to become strong like you, Derek." Both children shout, thank you, Derek." Brandy then shoves Thomas aside, trying to get closer. To quiet the boisterous pair, Derek playfully but firmly pinches both of their noses at the same time, much to their surprise. Derek lets go of the children's noses with a sigh. "Boy, the two of you sure can talk," he says, crouching down to their level. He addresses Brandy first. "Yes, you can have a knife, Brandy. I have several. They aren't made for leather work, but they should do the trick. Just be careful." He adds, "I also got plenty more hides for you to practice on while I was gone." Derek continues, making a deal with Brandy, whose eyes sparkle at the proposition. "If you can get your leatherworking skill to level 10, I'll help you get a class. Then I have a special project you can help me with." Brandy considers for a moment before asking, "Deal." Derek then turns his attention to Thomas, who is flexing his arms. "And Thomas, did you think about what we talked about before I left?" Thomas responds with an enthusiastic hum. "Good," Derek says as his bag rustles and lets out a squeak from the chipmunk toy inside. "'Cause I got something special for you." With a serious look, Derek makes a promise to the boy. "Meet me at the front gate tomorrow morning and we can unlock your system." Thomas, still holding his nose, eagerly agrees to the deal. Derek stands up looking at the two excited children. "That sounds good to both of you." They both jump and cheer. "Yes." Satisfied, Derek says, "Good." With a smirk, Derek issues a challenge. "Now, unless you two can answer my next question, you won't be getting any of the gifts I just mentioned." He raises a finger and asks, "Does this village have a tavern?" Having gotten his answer, Derek pushes open the large wooden door of the local tavern with a creak. He steps inside, closing his eyes and taking a deep, satisfying sniff of the tavern air. "Ah, I miss that smell," he says with a smile. Derek walks further into the bustling tavern, taking in the scene. He thinks to himself, "This planet better have good beer." As he walks past the bar, he bumps squarely into another patron. "Whoa," Derek exclaims, startled by the collision with the large, cloaked figure. Holding a freshly poured mug of beer, Derek turns to apologize. Sorry about that, didn't see you there. The cloaked figure begins to respond. It's no trouble, I. Suddenly, a wave of familiar purple void energy washes over Derek, emanating from the person he just bumped into. His eyes widen in shock as he recognizes the power, thinking, that energy. A close-up reveals the figure's eye, glowing with golden light and surrounded by a cascade of system data. With a look of sudden realization, Derek utters, "It's you." A strange energy signature suddenly appears, and Derek, the man with the dark hair, immediately senses it. The source of the energy is a mysterious hooded figure. His eyes glow with a digital light as he confirms his target's identity. "It's you," he says with certainty. Derek confronts the stranger inside the tavern, demanding to know who he is. He cautiously assesses the man, wondering if this strong individual could be another noble. The hunter cryptically replies, "You're what I've been tracking." Derek corrects him, confused by the strange choice of words. "Don't you mean who you've been tracking?" "No," the hunter says, his suspicion growing. "You're not a void beast, are you?" Derek scoffs, "Last I checked, no." The hunter presses on. "Then why do I sense the void on you?" Derek starts to sweat, thinking to himself, "Damn it, I really don't want to cause more trouble for everyone." Out loud, he feigns ignorance. "I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about." The hunter begins a rapid-fire interrogation. "Do you live in this village?" "No, I'm just a traveler." "From where?" "Out of town." "What level are you?" Derek, annoyed, retorts. "You ask a lot of questions." "Because I think you're lying," the hunter declares, jabbing his finger towards Derek. Derek quickly grabs the hunter's hand, stopping him in his tracks. With a tense look, Derek challenges him. "And what would you do if I were?" "This," the hunter exclaims as his eye flares with a brilliant light, activating a skill. He shouts, "Identify," attempting to scan Derek's status and information. But to the hunter's shock, a system window appears with a glaring red message. "Identify failed." Both men are left speechless for a moment. Breaking the awkward silence, Derek nonchalantly points towards the bar. "Can I get a beer now?" The stunned hunter can only stammer, sure." Derek approaches the man behind the counter. "You must be Derek," the bartender replies, "Guilty." Derek continues, "I've heard quite a bit of talk about you." Meanwhile, the hunter watches from a distance, deep in thought. "My identify skill failed? How high of a level is he? He must be the one that killed the void beast. I need to report back to Stella." Derek orders from the bartender, "1 pint of your finest ale, please." The bartender, whose name is actually Bart, laughs. "I make it all myself, and there ain't nothing fine about it. Nice to meet you, Bart." As they talk, the hunter quietly leaves the tavern. Derek watches the hunter go, thinking to himself, "That felt close. I'm not sure who that was, but it couldn't have been good news. Seems like he won't be bothering me anymore, though." Bart places a large mug of beer on the counter. "Here you are, Derek, that'll be 2 copper. Derek realizes, "I don't have any coin at the moment, but how does a level 52 badger pelt sound?" Derek asks, placing the valuable item on the bar. Bart's eyes widen with excitement. "Why, yeah, that should just about cover it. You want a room, too." Derek considers the offer. "Sure, how much will that cost?" Just then, a newcomer in a red cloak steps into the tavern and says, "On the house." The newcomer gets his attention. "Actually, Derek." Derek turns, surprised. A woman appears with a kind offer. "Brandy wanted me to ask if you'd like to stay with us while you're here," she says, "as payment for all the pelts you've given her." She gives him a warm smile, sealing the invitation with a simple, "I'm making stew." Derek, carrying 2 mugs of ale, walks with Brandy through the bustling village streets. As they walk, Brandy asks, "So, what did the hunter want with you?" Derek takes a sip of his drink and dismisses it. "Hunter, oh, that guy, nothing." "Right," Brandy says, not entirely convinced. She gives him a serious look and warns, "Well, whatever he wanted, it's best not to be on the bad side of someone like him. He works for the crown." Derek takes another sip of his drink, intrigued. "The crown," he asks, "like the kingdom?" "Not quite," Brandy explains as they look out over the city. "The crown is one of the most powerful organizations within the kingdom of Siberia. Despite their name, they aren't officially affiliated with the king or the government." A crest with a crown and crossed utensils appears. "They're actually a restaurant, but don't let that fool you." Brandy clarifies, as images of fine dining dishes float by. The crown holds significant sway and influence, she continues, describing how they serve royalty and nobility. An image of a smug noble enjoying a lavish meal appears. Receiving a membership is a dream for many nobles. Only the richest and most powerful people are allowed to dine there. Brandy leans in conspiratorially, and their most precious delicacy. She reveals the shocking truth with a single phrase, "Void beast." An image of a monstrous creature, cooked and garnished with lemons, appears. Derek is so shocked he spits out his drink. "They eat void beast," he exclaims in disbelief. "So I've heard," Brandy confirms. Apparently, after preparing it properly, consuming void beast can grant you incredible bonuses, and gifting one to the crown would almost guarantee someone a membership. "Really, why's that?" Derek asks, trying to appear casual. "I'm sure there are some weak void beasts out there. They can't all be strong like the legends." "Possibly," Brandy concedes, "but most would still destroy an entire village with ease. The problem is how rare they are. They only come from portals or the void, and most people are uncomfortable around even mentions of those things." A dark monochrome image flashes, showing the terror and destruction a void beast can unleash upon a town. Though, Brandy trails off. She gives Derek a knowing, sideways glance. "I'm sure you already knew that." Derek averts his gaze, a single drop of sweat rolling down his face, his silence a confirmation of her suspicion. Defeated, Derek simply replies, "Yeah." He and Brandy then continue walking towards her home. As evening falls, the scene shifts to a cozy house from which warm light, laughter, and chatter emanate. Inside, Derek is heartily enjoying the stew Brandy prepared, slurping it down with obvious relish. He smacks the empty bowl down on the table. "That was great, best thing I've eaten in years," he proclaims. The scene widens to show a warm family dinner. Brandy appears embarrassed by the high praise, saying, "Oh, stop it. It wasn't that good. My cooking skill is only level 8. An older woman at the table disagrees. "No, Derek's right. It was delicious, Mallory. Much better than what Delilah." The older man beside her stops abruptly as she gives him a threatening glare. A young, blonde-haired boy at the table eagerly looks at Derek, a bit of food still on his cheek. "So I get to unlock the great system tomorrow morning, right, Derek?" he asks, full of hope. Derek gives the boy a reassuring nod. "That's what I told you," he confirms before turning to the elders at the table. "So long as it's okay with your grandparents." The young boy, Thomas, looks at his grandparents hopefully. "Can I?" His grandfather smiles warmly. "Huh, oh yes, with how much you've been looking forward to it, we would be cruel to say no now." "Yes," Thomas throws his arms up in celebration, beaming with pure joy. "And one other condition," the grandfather adds, holding up a finger. Thomas's celebratory mood instantly deflates. The grandfather smiles mischievously. "It's been a long time since I've had a warm bath." Understanding his task, Thomas jumps up from his chair with renewed excitement. "I'll start warming the water now," he shouts as he dashes out of the room. The rest of the family chuckles warmly. "That boy only ever has one thing on his mind," the grandfather remarks. Later, Derek stands by the window, looking out at the sunset with a soft, content smile on his face. Brandy approaches him from behind and gently pokes his side to get his attention. "Derek."
"Huh, what is it,
Brandy?" Derek asks, turning around. "I made you this," she says, holding something in her hand. With a shy but sincere expression, she offers him a small, handcrafted necklace. "As a thank you," she says.
Her
expression becomes somber as she explains the gift's meaning. "After burying my dad, I felt lost. Working on all the hides has helped me to take my mind off it all." A flashback shows her grieving at the grave of her father, Travis. Derek holds the simple necklace in his hand, looking genuinely moved by her gesture and her story. "Thank you, Brandy," he says softly. The peaceful moment is interrupted by Thomas, who runs back into the room shouting, "I need more wood to warm the water," as the family chatters happily in the background. Derek clutches the necklace to his chest, a profound sense of peace washing over him. For the first time in a long time, he thinks to himself, I wasn't alone. As the sun sets over the walled village, Thomas's distant voice can be heard yelling comically, "Don't just laugh at me. Help, this bath is important." Derek's internal monologue concludes with a powerful realization, a feeling of profound relief and healing. I felt as if I'd truly escaped the void. In a flash, a figure is thrown through the air, landing with a powerful whoosh in a cloud of dust amidst a peaceful-looking field at sunset. A closer look reveals it's Derek, who has the young boy Thomas slung over his shoulder. Thomas looks completely startled as they fly through the air. Derek skids to a halt, still carrying Thomas, and declares, "This is as good a spot as any." Derek sets Thomas down, grabbing his shoulders. Thomas, looking dazed and dizzy, can only muster a confused "yee-yah" in response to Derek calling his name. Derek asked him a serious question. "Are you ready to unlock the system?" Thomas's expression immediately shifts to one of excitement as he eagerly replies, "Yes." "Good," Derek says, handing Thomas an ornate dagger. "Here, take this and don't cut yourself." Thomas obediently takes the weapon, saying, "Okay." With the dagger now in Thomas's hands, Derek reaches into a small pouch, saying, "Now." He pulls a small, wriggling creature out of the bag, holding it up. With a sharp look, he gives a simple, chilling command, "Kill it." Thomas gives a firm nod, his expression hardening with resolve as he grips the dagger, ready to follow the instruction. Thomas decisively stabs the creature. A brilliant blue light erupts from his body, and a system window appears, announcing, "Thomas Serafair has unlocked the great system." Derek now holds the bloody dagger, looking nonchalantly at Thomas. "Well," he asks, "how do you feel?" Thomas looks at his hands in shock, stuttering, I got an achievement saying it was over level 50. How was I able to kill something that strong?" Derek reveals the secret. "This knife was made by the same smith that made my glaive," he explains, holding the glowing weapon. "It's my sharpest one." "Now before we go any further," Derek says, pointing a finger at Thomas, "there's something important I need to ask." Thomas, looking up at him, replies earnestly, "Anything." Derek begins, "Thomas, you've made it clear that you plan to leave the safety of your village and grow stronger." In a moment of vulnerability, surrounded by a swirling purple aura, Derek confesses, "I've been alone for a long time, a very long time, and honestly, it's getting pretty old." He then looks down and asks Thomas directly, "When I leave, do you want to come with me?" Thomas is completely taken aback, his eyes wide with a mix of shock and hope. "You," he stammers, "you would let me travel with you?" "Yeah, that's why I asked," Derek confirms. Thomas is ecstatic, his mind racing with excitement. Adventure with Derek, is he serious? What would Grandpa say, or Grandma? This is amazing, he thinks. Trying to compose himself, Thomas clears his throat and attempts a casual tone. Yeah, of course, I don't see why not." Derek smiles, satisfied. "Good, in that case, a few more things." He raises one finger, laying out his first condition. "One, if you travel with me, you'll learn a lot about me. My secrets, you can't share them with anyone." Thomas's expression turns deadly serious. "I will guard them with my life," he vows. Derek internally thinks that's a bit much, but Thomas insists, "No." Derek raises a second finger. "Two, I'll keep you safe, but you'll have to train hard. I don't want you relying on others." Thomas nods in understanding as Derek adds, "Even me." He holds up a third finger for his final rule. "And lastly, if I tell you to do something, you do it," he states firmly, "no questions." The absolute nature of the final rule gives Thomas pause. He repeats the word quietly, a hint of concern on his face, "anything." Sensing his hesitation, Derek raises his hands reassuringly. "Don't worry, I'm not evil," he clarifies before adding a candid admission, "though I'm not necessarily good either. If I tell you to do something, there's a reason for it." This honest explanation is all Thomas needs to make his decision. With newfound determination, Thomas clenches his fists and agrees. "Okay, I want to travel with you, Derek." Derek smiles and shakes Thomas's hand firmly. "Then welcome to the team." Later, under a bright blue sky, Derek is relaxing in a grassy field while Thomas reviews his new system window. Derek asks, "So how many skill points do you have?" Thomas replies, 3. Derek smirks, "Perfect, you're about to only have one." As Thomas shouts in protest, Derek calmly reminds him, "Like I said, do what I say." Derek issues his first command for Thomas's build. "Use one skill point to get meditation and the other for identify." Thomas looks at the corresponding skill icons and reluctantly agrees, confirming, "Okay, it's done." Sensing Thomas's disappointment, Derek puts a hand on his shoulder. Hey, don't feel bad. I know it's not flashy, but those are some of the most powerful skills you can have. He explains that high-level meditation allows for rapid health and mana restoration, while high-level identify protects one's personal information from others. Thomas visualizes the concepts: a figure restoring energy and another whose eye glows with power, but can't help but complain aloud. But they're so boring. Derek reassures him. Then you'll be happy to hear that you can spend your last one on something a little more exciting. He then asks, do you know what you want your future class to be? Thomas's eyes light up as he imagines himself as a swift, shadowy ninja. I want to be fast, he exclaims. I want to hit things before they even see me coming. Then spend your last point on light weapons mastery, Derek instructs. Thomas immediately does so, tapping the system window with a decisive click. Great, Derek says, getting up. Now put all of your stat points in vitality and endurance. He adds with a grin, you're going to need it if you want to keep up. Keep up, Thomas asks, confused, as Derek turns to walk away. Aren't you going to carry me, Ba? Before Thomas can finish, Derek dashes off with a sudden FWOSH and a curt note, leaving Thomas to stumble in his wake. Derek shouts back over his shoulder, we're racing and you're losing. A frustrated Thomas yells after him, hey, that's no fair. The scene shifts to a large room where a meeting is in progress. Raina, Richard, Thomas's grandpa, and Derek are seated around a table, while Thomas is passed out on the floor, panting from exhaustion. One of the people at the table sighs heavily, tapping their fingers on the wood. Then if that's the case, they begin. Derek finishes the grave sentence, his expression hard and serious. They will die. Raina, the village chief, asks for clarification. What do you mean? I sent a request for level 50 silver-ranked adventurers to the guild. You're saying they wouldn't be able to handle the dungeon. Derek reveals the grim truth he discovered. During my trip into the forest, I found the dungeon. He pauses before delivering the shocking news. It was level 100. The revelation sends a wave of shock through the room. Thomas's grandpa, Richard, and Raina are all stunned into silence, unable to believe what they've just heard. Derek's eyes glint with intensity as he specifies the rank that corresponds to such a high level. Gold. He lays out the new plan. We need a team of level 100 gold-ranked adventurers. Thomas's grandpa immediately responds. I'll start writing a new request after this meeting. Derek turns to the man with the fur cloak. Richard, do you have a map of the area? At the same time, Thomas's grandpa directs his grandson, Thomas, grab the map. It's in the top drawer over there. Thomas quickly complies, shouting, yes, grandpa. Raina unrolls the map and points to a location. Here is Raina's village, she explains. The red X's are dungeons that we're aware of. The words beneath them state the max level allowed in the dungeon, the type of monster, what its rewards are, and how many people can go in at once. A close-up of the map shows the dungeon details near Raina's village. A red circle highlights the information. 25, INSECTS, support skill, 4 people. Derek points to another spot on the map, deducing. Then the undead dungeon should be roughly here. He looks to Thomas's grandpa, holding a glowing pen, and asks for permission to alter the map. May I? The old man graciously replies, of course. Derek draws a new red X on the map, writing 100 Undying, to mark the new, high-level dungeon he discovered. He then asks, could I also make a copy of this? Raina agrees, I don't see why not. After thanking her, Derek turns his attention to Raina with a pointed question. By the way, Raina, with all the dungeons and monsters in the area, why are you only level 31? A blue system aura envelops a flustered Raina as she realizes what he's done. You used to identify on me, she exclaims, a status window below her confirming she is a level 31 human female. Derek coolly retorts, don't act like you haven't tried to do the same to me. Resigned, Raina explains her predicament. It's because of her rare class, Tempest Blade, which levels slower than others, accompanied by a vision of her wielding its power. Looking out the window, she laments, most creatures in the area barely give me any experience. I want a level, but I am the chief. There just isn't enough time. She glances at the weapons displayed on the wall, adding another problem to the list. Plus, the weapons made in the village don't last long against high-leveled creatures. A close-up shows a curved, ornate sword hanging on the wall. Its blade is chipped and worn from battle. Suddenly, Derek plucks a sword from the wall and tosses it towards her with a single word, catch. Reina reflexively catches the weapon, surprised by the sudden action. Derek identifies the object simply as a sword, then extends an invitation. Thomas and I are going to be training tomorrow, and I want you to join us. In the background, a shocked Thomas blurts out, "We are." With a confident smirk, Derek points at Reina and makes his offer. "If you do, the sword is yours." He then adds a qualifying question. "You can cast magic, right?" Reina inspects the finely crafted sword, its blade gleaming. She confirms she can use magic, then asks in disbelief, "You'd really just give me a weapon like this? It must have cost a fortune." Derek casually confirms, "Yup, it's yours." Hearing this, Reina's expression becomes determined. She gives a firm nod and accepts the deal. "Then I'll do it." "Fantastic," Derek exclaims. "I'll see you and Thomas early tomorrow morning." As he heads for the door, he waves goodbye, adding, "Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go see my new friend Bart." The scene cuts to a grand, candle-lit room where the nobleman Wallace pleads desperately with his father. "But I need reinforcements, father." His father, a powerful lord, looks up from his writing with disdain. "For what? To bully a tiny village past the edges of the city? Are you that small of a man?" he scolds. "You forget yourself, Wallace." He continues, revealing his knowledge of the situation. "In fact, I heard the village recently requested a silver-rank adventuring team." He glares at his son. "One to deal with the issue that you were supposed to have dealt with." Wallace clenches his fist in humiliation. The father's face darkens with anger. "I will not stand for another embarrassment from you," he commands. "You are to return to the village and deal with what they ask of you." Wallace takes a step forward, trying to argue his case one last time. "But father..." His father silences him with a shout. "Enough, WALLACE." He points forcefully towards the door, his command absolute. "Go." Defeated, Wallace clenches his jaw in anger. He turns sharply on his heel and walks away without another word. As he storms out of the chamber, Wallace's mind seethes with resentment. "Fine, father," he thinks, a malicious vow forming. "You want me to deal with them? I'll deal with them." The chapter concludes with the title card for System Universe. In a grassy field, a woman with her hair tied back in a ponytail holds a sword, ready for combat. Her expression is serious and focused. A shirtless man, Derek, stands with his arms wide open, confidently telling his training partner, Reina, "Absolutely, hit me with everything you've got." Reina, holding her sword, expresses her concern. "You aren't even wearing armor. You could get hurt." Derek reassures her with a confident smile, saying, "Just trust me." He adds, "Besides, I'd much rather these old shorts I had in my storage bracelet get destroyed than another shirt." Below, a glimpse of a glowing blue aura hints at his power. Reina, still hesitant but agreeing, says, "If you say so," as she channels a swirling blue energy into her sword. She thinks to herself, "But I'll still hold back so I don't hurt him." With that thought, she unleashes a powerful slash of energy. The wave of blue energy speeds towards Derek, who stands calmly with his arms outstretched, ready to receive the blow. A close-up on Derek's face shows his glowing blue eyes, completely unfazed as the attack approaches. Watching from the side, a young blonde boy named Thomas is shocked, thinking, this is his idea of training. He looks completely stressed out, kneeling amidst a collection of swords and spears on the ground. Thomas continues to fret, thinking, maybe I shouldn't travel with... His thought is cut off as Derek takes the full force of Reina's attack with a loud splash of energy. The attack dissipates, leaving Derek completely unharmed. Thomas is amazed, thinking it didn't even break his skin. He's amazing. In contrast, Reina is horrified by Derek's durability, thinking he's a monster. Steam rises from Derek's chest where the attack landed. He looks at Reina and says, "Not bad. Next time, don't hold back." Reina stares back with a determined expression, her face hardening as she prepares for her next move. Standing within a whirlwind of her own energy, Reina looks up at Derek and replies firmly, "I won't." 10 minutes later, Reina is on her hands and knees, completely exhausted. Derek casually stands over her, asking, "Out of mana?" She nods in response. He instructs her, "All right, use meditation until you've recovered. Then we'll continue." While Reina meditates to recover her mana, Derek turns his attention to the young boy, calling out, "Tommy." Thomas, who had dropped his weapons in surprise, quickly gets up and responds with a salute. Yeah. Derek gestures towards the scattered weapons on the ground and says, "We're going to start your training. Pick whichever weapon you want and do your best to kill me." Thomas is utterly shocked by the command, his face pale as he exclaims, "Kill you." Derek sighs, wiping sweat from his brow. "You just saw me take 30 wind blades to the chest. Do you really think you and your puny strength will be able to hurt me?" Thomas processes this, his expression shifting from shock to a grim determination. He says, "Right, kill you." Thomas leaps back, grabbing a weapon from the ground. Derek gestures for him to attack, saying, "Come on then." Letting out a fierce battle cry, Thomas charges forward with a dagger in hand. As Thomas lunges, Derek effortlessly sidesteps the clumsy attack, causing the boy's dagger to slice through empty air. Thomas stumbles past his stationary target, ending up behind Derek. He looks back, utterly baffled by how easily his all-out attack was dodged, leaving a moment of silence in the air. Derek stands perfectly still as Thomas stumbles past him, his dagger having missed completely. Both are speechless for a moment. Derek comments dryly, "You missed a still target." Thomas, flustered and surrounded by question marks, stammers out, "Sorry." Derek tells him, "Don't be sorry, be better." In response, Thomas stands tall, salutes, and declares with renewed vigor, "I will never miss again." Despite his declaration, Thomas's next attempt with the dagger also misses completely. Frustrated, Derek facepalms and says, "Let's try a different weapon." Thomas protests immediately, shouting, "What? But I want to use daggers." Derek looks at him sternly, reminding him, "Remember what we agreed to? Do as I say. Now try again with a spear." A montage begins, showing how they spent the next several days. The scene pans over a vibrant landscape where Derek, Reina, and Thomas are all training. The narration explains that as Reina's attacks with her wind blade became stronger, Derek's magic resistance skill also increased from enduring them. However, Thomas was still struggling with daggers. Derek is shown with light scratches on his chest, indicating Thomas's attacks were barely effective. He struggled a lot. Derek facepalms in exasperation as Thomas drops his dagger yet again. The narration notes, but his abilities with the sword and spear were actually rather impressive. In between training sessions, Derek would hunt beasts in the forest for Thomas to kill so he could level up. Derek is shown returning from a hunt with a large wolf-like beast slung over his shoulders, providing hides for Reina to practice on as well. The scene shifts to the evening, and come nightfall, we'd be back at the village, eating dinner with the others. The group is seen enjoying a lively meal with the villagers, filled with laughter. During dinner, an old man from the village speaks to Derek. "I know the boy can be a bit stubborn, but maybe go a little easy on him. His father used daggers." Meanwhile, Thomas excitedly tells a village woman, "You should totally watch me train next time. I'm getting really good." The woman, smiling warmly, replies, "Haha, I bet you are." The old man continues, explaining Thomas's motivation. He just wants to be like his dad. The scene changes to a bright, sunny day under a large tree. Derek announces, "Okay, the day has come, you're finally level 10. Thomas nods. Derek continues, "It's time to choose a class." Derek gives Thomas some serious advice. "Be smart about this, Tommy. Choose the best one, not the one that you think is the coolest. If you need help, ask me. Got it?" Thomas grins confidently and replies with a determined, "Got it." Thomas sits under the tree and opens his system window, while Derek waits with his arms crossed a short distance away. Derek watches him, thinking to himself, "I hope the system gives him good options. He's been working really hard and deserves a..." His thoughts are interrupted as he sees Thomas make a selection on the system screen with a determined look. Thomas decisively clicks a button on the holographic interface. A burst of green energy surrounds Thomas as he triumphantly yells, "Done!" Derek, caught off guard by the speed of the decision, says, "Already? You didn't even ask me anything." Ignoring Derek's question, Thomas skillfully flips a pair of newly acquired daggers in his hand, a clear sign of the class he has chosen. Thomas proudly catches his new dagger, declaring, "I didn't need to, I had the perfect option." A close-up on Derek's eyes shows them glowing with a cold blue light, his expression hardening as he thinks, "He didn't." Thomas leaps into the air excitedly, throwing a dagger. I picked the rogue class. It's uncommon, and it's the same class my dad had. Derek, now appearing as a dark, intimidating silhouette, asks, "There wasn't anything better. No rare or growth-type classes." As Thomas fumbles and drops his dagger, Derek presses him. "Don't tell me you could have chosen something better, but chose this because you wanted to be like your dad." Thomas nervously bends down to pick up his dagger, admitting, "Well, there were some rarer options." He continues, a flashback of his father in his eyes. "But then I remembered how cool my dad was, and..." Derek cuts him off, his voice cold and sharp as a menacing aura surrounds him. "Your dad is dead, Thomas, and you're no good with daggers." Thomas freezes, the dagger held to his own throat in shock. Tears well up in Thomas's eyes as Derek continues his harsh lecture. "Did you even stop to think? I honestly don't know if I should still take you with me. I've been treating you like an adult. I guess I forgot you're still a child." Desperate, Thomas drops to his knees and grabs Derek's leg, pleading, "No, please, you have to take me. I need to become strong. I have to protect people." Derek looks down at him, his expression still stern. "How can I trust you if you don't do as I say? I don't even know if I can trust you to keep any of my secrets." With tears streaming down his face, Thomas begs, "Please, I..." With a desperate cry, Thomas makes a solemn vow. "I swear on the great system that I'll keep your secrets." A glowing blue system window appears before them. It reads, "An oath to the great system has been made by Thomas Stewart. This oath is binding until death. If broken, Thomas Stewart will lose all classes and skills obtained from the great system and be labeled an oathbreaker. Stats will remain as is at the time of breaking the oath." Derek is shocked. He thinks, "Whoa, this looks like the contract skill from my previous system." He rereads the terms of the oath, nodding, "Though this is certainly much harsher." Derek looks down at the still kneeling Thomas and asks, "Why would you ever do this? Are you that desperate?" Thomas, sniffling, looks up and says, "Yes, I want to follow you." Derek's expression softens slightly. He relents, "Fine, but you already have one strike. I won't hesitate to bring you back home in the future." He adds, "For your own safety." Then he instructs Thomas, "Now stand up. We're running back to the village so you can pack your things. Come morning, we'll be leaving for a few days. We'll see if you truly mean your oath by taking you to your first dungeon." The scene shifts to a fancy, ornate carriage being pulled by horses, rattling along a road leading away from a large castle-like city. Inside the lavish carriage, a group of well-dressed and armored individuals are relaxing. One man pours a drink while others lounge around a table. One of the women in the carriage complains with a look of disgust, "Do we really have to return to that pigsty of a village?" A man with reddish-orange hair whines, "I just got the smell out of my hair yesterday." Another woman with long blonde hair adds disdainfully, "They'd better have a nicer welcoming party for us this time. They didn't even have one last time." A quiet, sharp-eyed man with a bead of sweat on his temple remains silent during the complaints. Suddenly, a man with white hair slams his hand down, shouting, "Will you all shut up?" The others fall silent, startled. A man with a green cloak retorts, "I didn't even say anything." The white-haired man, clearly the leader, looks away with a serious expression. "Just stop complaining for once. In a few days, this whole ordeal will be over." In a grassy field, Derek and Thomas walk forward as a mysterious green orb of energy spins in front of them. Derek thinks to himself, "We should be able to run a level 25 dungeon about twice before I become too high level." He continues his thought. That should give Tommy plenty of experience before we move on to something a bit stronger. Thomas looks up at Derek, confused, and asks, "I still don't get why we're here." Derek reminds him that he's already told him. Thomas, still puzzled, questions him further. This is a level 25 dungeon? How are you going to enter it?" With a confident smile, Derek replies, "We're here to complete the dungeon." Derek then adds, "Remember those secrets you can't tell anyone? Well, you're about to see the first one." The green orb hums as it floats directly in front of Derek's chest. A system window appears, revealing the dungeon's status. It's a level 25 insect-type dungeon. The participants are listed as Derek Hunt, level 18, and Thomas Stewart, level 10. Thomas is utterly shocked. What?" he exclaims. "How are you only level 18? There's no way." A bead of sweat runs down his face as a realization begins to dawn on him. But this means
his shock turns to excitement.
His shock turns to excitement. We can run all the lower-level dungeons, and with your strength there won't be any trouble. Derek smirks, shattering Thomas's excitement. Who said I'd be fighting? He asks. I'm just gonna watch.
A bright light shines.
A bright light shines as Derek pushes a stunned Thomas forward. Wait, what? Thomas cries out. Derek coolly explains, no better training than fighting something that'll kill you if it has the chance. A system message counts down their entry into the dungeon. 3, 2, 1. They are transported into a dark, damp cave with water dripping from stalactites. Suddenly, the scenery changes to a lush, green jungle as a colorful bird chirps and flies past. Standing at the entrance to the jungle cave, with a large toucan watching from a branch above, Derek turns to Thomas and asks, "Ready, kid?" Thomas nervously tugs on Derek's sleeve. Are you sure about this? Derek looks down at him and asks, "What are you scared of?" Derek begins to list the reasons Thomas shouldn't be afraid. I gave you high-level daggers,
and the armor Brandy
made you should be able to protect you from almost anything in here. Derek continues his pep talk, though Thomas still looks terrified. Plus, if you've been listening to me, which I'm not sure you have, you should have enough vitality to take a few hits. Even if you somehow get hurt, I need to level up my rejuvenation skill anyway. A tiny chibi version of Derek flashes a peace sign, calling it a win-win. Thomas gulps, draws one of his daggers, and reluctantly agrees. Yeah, win-win. As they stand before a cliff edge, a giant, menacing purple centipede crawls into view. Unfazed, Derek says nonchalantly, "You're going to have so much fun." But the centipede isn't the first to strike. Before Thomas can even react, a giant wasp-like creature swoops down from above, grabbing the terrified boy who can only scream, "Help me." Thomas screams in terror as a giant beetle scuttles after him through the jungle. The massive centipede has now wrapped its body around Thomas, squeezing him tightly. He gasps, can't breathe. In a panic, Thomas attempts to stab another giant insect with his dagger, but the blade just crunches against its tough exoskeleton. He cries out, "Derek." Just as the monster is about to strike, Derek finally intervenes, slicing the creature in half with a powerful slash from his polearm. Thomas sits on the ground, exhausted and bleeding from his arm. He gasps for breath and asks Derek, what part of that was supposed to be fun? Derek casually sits down in front of him. "Relax, Tommy, you didn't die, did you?" Thomas looks at him in disbelief and asks, "What is wrong with you?" Derek tells him, "Let me see your arm." As Derek touches it, Thomas winces in pain. "Ow, ow, ow, I think it's broken." A green healing light emanates from Derek's hand as he holds Thomas's injured arm, using his rejuvenation skill. Amazed, Thomas flexes his completely healed arm. Derek asks, "How's that?" Thomas replies, "It's better." Derek claps a startled Thomas on the shoulder. "Great," he says cheerfully. "Then let's get you back out there. This dungeon won't clear itself." A nervous Thomas crouches in the grass, getting ready for the next wave of monsters. Derek enthusiastically cheers him on. "You've got this, kid." Meanwhile, Thomas holds his dagger with a look of annoyance, thinking to himself, "There's something seriously wrong with him." A new giant horned beetle appears in the clearing. Hiding in the bushes, Thomas sees an opportunity and thinks, "This is my chance." Thomas gulps, his hands trembling as he grips his daggers. He steals his resolve, thinking, "I can do this." He dashes out from his hiding spot, charging towards the giant beetle. The beetle's glowing eye swivels as it immediately notices the charging boy. Thomas attempts a lunging strike, but the beetle easily sidesteps it, and his attack whiffs completely. Watching from the sidelines, Derek puts a hand to his face and groans in frustration. "You've gotta be kidding me." The beetle swings its massive horn, smacking Thomas and sending him tumbling through the air. Thomas grunts in pain as he crashes hard onto the ground. The beetle looms over the fallen Thomas, raising its horn for a finishing blow. "Crap," Thomas thinks. From the trees, Derek yells, "Dodge, kid." Heeding the warning, Thomas rolls out of the way just as the beetle's horn slams into the ground. He uses the momentum to launch a counterattack, successfully slicing the monster's leg. Derek pumps his fist and cheers, "Attaboy, Tommy." Thomas stands ready with his dagger, panting as the injured beetle recoils. The enraged beetle lets out a screech and charges straight at Thomas. Thomas cries out as he's caught head-on by the beetle's charge, the sheer force of the impact beginning to push him backwards. The beetle pushes Thomas back, and he notices his armor is starting to crack under the pressure, but it's holding. He thinks, "My armor is holding." Finding new resolve, he braces himself against a large tree. Grateful for his equipment, he thinks, "Thanks, Brandy, I can do this." Using the tree as a support, he pushes off and lunges forward, slicing deep into the beetle's head with his dagger. The beetle lets out a piercing screech as yellow blood gushes from the deep wound in its head. Thomas drives his blade even deeper into the monster's skull, finishing it off. With the beetle finally dead, Thomas slumps to the ground against a tree, panting heavily. Derek appears and comments, "I'm not gonna say that went well." Wiping the sweat from his brow, Thomas looks up and replies, "But it was an improvement." Derek helps Thomas to his feet. "Now let's go over your spectacular performance," he says sarcastically. "What do you think is the first thing you did wrong?" Thomas ventures a guess. I put too much into my swing." Derek presses him. "Are you asking me or telling me?" Thomas quickly corrects himself. "Telling you. Yes, I put too much in my swing, which made me off balance when I missed." Derek bluntly shuts him down. "Wrong. You were wrong before you even got to the beetle." With a serious expression, he asks, "You picked a rogue class, so you should have a stealth skill, right?" Derek poses the crucial question. "Why didn't you use it?" The question hits Thomas, who freezes and repeats it to himself. "Why didn't I use it?" Thomas stands completely stunned, his mind a jumble of mathematical equations and Derek's repeating words. "You should have a stealth skill. Why didn't you use it? You picked a rogue class." He stands frozen in place with a blank expression as the words stealth skill echo in his mind, and leaves fall gently around him. A slow, dawning realization crosses Thomas's face as he looks up with a nervous sweat. Because, he begins to explain. With an incredibly sheepish grin, Thomas confesses to the stunned Derek, "I forgot I had it." Derek points at him in utter disbelief. "You forgot about the only actual skill you have, from the class you chose against my suggestion." Sweating profusely with a strained, awkward smile, Thomas can only reply with a single word, "Yes." Derek is left completely speechless, a single drop of sweat rolling down his face. He thinks to himself in pure disbelief, "Holy shit, this kid's dumb as hell." The scene opens with a clear blue sky, hinting at a peaceful day that is about to be disturbed. A carriage wheel rattles loudly, kicking up dust as it speeds along a country road, signaling a hurried arrival. The carriage, drawn by two white horses, comes to an abrupt halt before the wooden gates of a town. A figure in sturdy leather boots steps firmly onto the ground, marking their arrival. From atop the town's wooden palisade, a guard spots the newcomers and calls out, "Who goes there? State your name and your..." Before the guard can finish his sentence, a blast of turquoise energy erupts, sending him flying with a cry of pain. From a distance, a powerful figure unleashes the devastating magical blast, creating a massive explosion at the town gate. The sudden attack throws the townspeople into a panic. "What's going on? Are we under attack?" One person yells. Another recognizes the aggressors, saying, "Why are they back? No, those are the adventurers from before." A group of adventurers led by a man with white hair walks confidently past the panicked villagers. Their leader announces, "Don't worry, peasants. Your dungeon fears are over. The city lord of Torith has heard your plea for aid." With a close-up on his face, the leader, Graceful, reveals a sinister smile and glowing red eyes as he declares, "We are here to save you." In response, a hand grips a sword shimmering with blue energy. A voice full of defiance says, "If this is the kind of aid you offer..." The ice that had encased a section of the wooden fence sizzles and melts away, evidence of the earlier attack. A female warrior, Mallory, stands ready with a large polearm, her body surrounded by a swirling aura of power. She finishes her sentence, "Then we want none of it." A man with blonde hair and a determined expression stands amidst a powerful aura, as Mallory's voice rings out, ordering, "I order you to leave, Graceful." Graceful merely grins, his expression filled with malice and contempt, completely unfazed by their resistance. The scene shifts to a level 25 insect dungeon, where a grotesque level 18 spider ant screeches as it appears. Inside the dungeon, a young adventurer swiftly dodges a sharp, red glowing attack from the spider ant. It's Thomas, he thinks to himself with some frustration. We've been in this dungeon for days. I'm already level 17. Fueled by determination, Thomas shouts, I can handle a stupid bug, rah, and lunges forward with his daggers. With a powerful stab, he plunges his dagger into the spider ant's head, causing yellow blood to spurt out. Thomas beams with pride, clenching his fists in excitement. Yes, I did it, he exclaims, proud of his kill. Just as he celebrates, a voice shouts a warning, watch out. Thomas, still standing over the defeated monster, looks over his shoulder and says, what? A much larger spider ant charges towards the distracted Thomas. His companion yells, don't let yourself get distracted. Charge. Thomas panics, realizing his mistake. CR crap, he thinks, struggling to pull his weapon free. My dagger's stuck, I can't get it out. As the massive spider ant looms over the defenseless Thomas, he cries out, help, completely vulnerable to the impending attack. Just in the nick of time, a powerful force slams into the spider ant, saving Thomas from certain death. Thomas sits on the ground, shaken but alive, thinking to himself in frustration, damn it, that was going so well too. He looks at his dagger, still embedded in the first monster, and laments his choice of weapon. If I'd had a longer weapon or more leverage to pull my weapon free, I'd have been fine. I'm not cut out for using daggers. The dagger is effortlessly pulled free from the monster's carcass. Derek stands before Thomas holding the clean dagger. Thomas looks down, defeated, thinking, I shouldn't have chosen this class. Once again, Derek is right, like always. A green healing light envelops Thomas as Derek encourages him. Don't look so glum, kid. You almost had it. Compared to when we started, you're a whole new fighter. Thomas looks up, starting to regain his confidence, and agrees, yeah, you're right. Derek smiles, seeing the change in his student. In fact, I think you're ready. You've killed just about everything else. They stand before a massive, ancient-looking gate crackling with ominous blue lightning. Derek gestures towards it, saying, all that's left is the boss. As they approach the boss room, Derek reminds Thomas of the strategy. You remember the plan? Sneak up on it with stealth and go for the head. Don't mess it up. With a heavy groan, the giant stone doors to the boss's chamber swing open. A blur of purple energy rushes out from the darkness of the chamber. Derek instantly moves to block a swift attack, shielding Thomas, who can only watch in awe and exclaim, whoa. The dungeon boss reveals itself to be a massive, armored, mantis-like creature. Seeing its intimidating form, Thomas's confidence wavers. I don't know if I can kill that, he mutters. Noticing Thomas's hesitation, Derek's expression hardens with resolve. Change of plans, he announces. I'll hold it down, you just get the final blow. No sense in taking the risk. Without a moment's hesitation, Derek, wreathed in blue energy, dashes towards the monstrous boss. Derek intercepts the boss mid-attack, grabbing its razor-sharp appendages with his bare hands. With his eyes glowing, Derek overpowers the creature, forcing its side-like arms back. With a loud crack, Derek slams the giant insect boss into the ground, pinning it completely. Holding the hissing beast down, Derek yells to his apprentice, I got it, Tommy, the rest is all you. Thomas, though sweating, gives a firm nod, his eyes filled with grim determination. He rushes forward, gripping his dagger tightly, ready to land the final blow. Thomas successfully stabs the boss in a glowing, weak spot on its neck. The monster's limbs twitch as the final blow takes effect. The boss's body dissolves into a swirling vortex of purple light and particles. A system window appears against a glittering background, announcing their victory. Dungeon boss defeated. Thomas stands triumphantly over the spot where the boss fell, exclaiming, I did it! I cleared my first dungeon. A small, relieved Chibai version of Thomas thinks, I can finally leave this hell. Meanwhile, Derek walks away from the dissipating loot orb and says, Congratulations, Tommy. It only gets harder from here. Derek continues, I was planning on having us do another dungeon, but you were a lot slower than I expected. Besides, your granny is probably worried sick. Thomas falls silent, looking down thoughtfully as he holds on to the remnants of the defeated boss. Thomas looks over at Derek, a bead of sweat on his face, remaining silent as his mentor examines the rewards. As Derek continues to absorb the loot, Thomas, blushing with embarrassment, finally asks, "What are you doing?" It's revealed that Thomas is struggling to kick his dagger free from the monster's tough carapace. "Knife stuck," he grunts in frustration. A system window appears displaying the dungeon rewards. "Dungeon complete, exiting dungeon, assigning rewards. Congratulations, you have received the skill Cure Toxin." Below the text, a potion with a skull stopper materializes. The system displays the details for the new skill. Cure Toxin. Remove toxins, infections, and contaminations from yourself and others. Cost, 1 skill point. A gold coin, likely representing the skill point, is also shown. Thomas also receives an achievement for his efforts. "You have completed your first dungeon. Achievement unlocked, Lesser Dungeon Explorer." The achievement grants him 2 skill points. Now outside the dungeon, surrounded by a swirl of dust and leaves, Derek asks, "All right, kid, you ready to head back?" Thomas nods. "MHM. Derek agrees. "Good. Then let's get going." As they walk along a path towards the village under a setting sun, Derek says, "So, you finally understand why I didn't want you to use daggers?" Thomas, having learned his lesson, replies, "Yeah, I get it now. I'll change classes once I'm level 25. Derek smiles, pleased. "You can do that? Good, then I have a great spear you can have," he offers. "Its former owner doesn't need it anymore." Thomas is thrilled by the offer. "Really? That'd be great." Suddenly, Derek's smile fades. He lets out a surprised huh. As a single tear escapes his eye, a painful memory seemingly triggered by his own words about the spear. As they get closer to home, Derek notices the empty guard post. "That's odd. Why is nobody guarding the gate?" he wonders aloud. The naive Thomas, however, is distracted, commenting, "Those are some nice-looking carriages." Derek looks up, his expression instantly darkening as he connects the fancy carriages with the empty gate. He starts to say, "Yeah, but cuts himself off with a sharp curse. Shit." Sensing disaster, both of them break into a frantic dash, racing towards the town. Wreathed in crackling blue energy, Derek sprints into the village, desperately calling out for the people he knows. Raina, Mallory. They find a red-haired woman lying unconscious on the ground. A system window identifies her as a level 1 human, but gives no name. Nearby, they discover Mallory grievously injured. A system window above her indicates her dire situation. Level 18, state, critical with only 13 minutes until death. Thomas runs in after his mentor, taking in the chaotic scene with horror. "Derek, what's going on?" he shouts. Derek immediately kneels, casting a healing spell on the 2 fallen women. Thomas rushes to his side, asking, "Is that Brandy? Is she okay?" Derek, focused on the healing, replies, "They'll both be fine. I healed the worst of the damage." With the immediate danger to their lives averted, Derek gently places a hand on Thomas's head, giving him a simple, firm instruction: "Stay here." Thomas, trembling with fear and confusion as he looks at his injured friends, asks with a tear in his eye, "Where are you going?" Derek turns back, his face a mask of cold fury. Purple void energy crackles around him as his eye glows menacingly. "To find who did this," he vows. The scene flashes back to the confrontation. Mallory is on her knees, panting and bloodied, with a sword pressed against her neck. In the town square, Gracefall loses his patience with the captive Mallory. "Enough of this," he roars. "If you won't tell me where he is, then so be it. Just know that this is all your fault." With a sadistic smile, Gracefall looms over the defiant warrior and pronounces his verdict. "By the noble house of Gracefall, and for the crime of disobedience, I, Wallace F. Gracefall, sentence you to death by beheading." One of Gracefall's men raises his sword, preparing to carry out the execution as Mallory looks up, bloodied but unafraid. At the last possible second, a whip of pure purple void energy manifests and shatters the executioner's blade. Gracefall and his man stare in disbelief as Derek's voice cuts through the air. "I thought I told you." Mallory's eye reflects the ominous purple glow as Derek's voice continues, filled with cold rage. "If you lay a finger on anyone." Derek stands revealed, wielding a massive spear and enveloped in a terrifying aura of purple void energy. His eyes glow with immense power as he delivers his final, chilling promise. "I'll kill you." A nobleman raises his sword, about to strike down a defenseless villager. But his blade is stopped by a mysterious purple energy. Richard, a village elder, stands before him, a defiant look on his face as he begins to speak. I thought I told you. With blood dripping from a wound on his head, Richard continues his warning. If you lay a finger on anyone. Suddenly Derek appears, his body shrouded in a powerful void aura, finishing the sentence with cold fury. I'll kill you. Enraged, the silver-haired elite leader of the nobles screams at his subordinates, Kill him now. Derek stands calmly as the soldiers begin to close in, the void energy swirling around him. A red-haired noblewoman lunges forward, shouting die as she attacks Derek. With a swift, powerful motion, Derek strikes her down with his spear. She hits the ground hard, defeated in a single blow. Watching her comrade fall, a blonde noble fire mage screams in fury, her eyes glowing with power. She channels her rage into a powerful spell, shouting, You'll pay for that, you low-born peasant. A massive fireball forms in her hand as she screams, I'll burn you to ashes. She unleashes a devastating blast of fire. The fiery attack hurtles towards the terrified villagers, who are being shielded by a female knight. The entire area crackles as it's engulfed in the raging inferno. A close-up on the fire mage's face reveals tears streaming down her cheeks as she thinks, For my sister. The other nobles look on in shock, the leader barely able to stammer, Did she? A massive explosion of fire consumes the battlefield. But from within the flames, Derek's face emerges, his purple eyes glowing, completely unharmed. He calmly walks out of the inferno, simply stating no. The nobles can only watch in disbelief. One of them thinks he isn't even singed. Their leader, furious at their incompetence, screams, What are you idiots doing? I said kill him already. A giant, shadowy entity with a single, menacing eye materializes behind Derek, a manifestation of his power. Just as the order is given, an arrow flies toward Derek, but he snatches it out of the air with his bare hand, his purple eyes glowing with power. The archer is revealed to be the same noblewoman who wielded fire just moments ago. Seeing her attack so easily nullified, she stares in utter disbelief and mutters a name under her breath. She no, not again. Seeing the overwhelming power of Derek, one of the noblemen decides to flee. Screw this, he shouts, jumping from a rooftop. I'm not dying for Wallace's. But his escape is cut short as an arrow, fired by the noblewoman, pierces through his head. His body goes limp and falls from the roof. Meanwhile, Richard and other villagers push through the crowd, desperately calling out, Derek, out of my way, Derek. Panting, Richard finally reaches him and pleads, Derek, you have to stop, they're nobles. Richard continues to warn him. There will be no going back, but Derek, with his back turned to the old man, coldly replies, They had their chance, Richard. In a close-up of his glowing purple eyes, which reflect Richard's terrified face, Derek adds, But that chance is now long gone. Ignoring the warning, the first nobleman who tried to attack Richard lets out a furious scream and charges at Derek again. Derek effortlessly stops the sword with his bare hand, the impact creating a shockwave of void energy. The nobleman stares in disbelief as Derek's power easily contains his attack. Impossible, he mutters. With a surge of void energy, Derek completely shatters the nobleman's steel blade. Derek steps past the defeated subordinate, his sights now set on the leader, Wallace. Wallace grits his teeth in frustration, his eyes glowing with rage. Useless, he snarls, the whole damn lot of them. Enveloped in a swirling turquoise aura, Wallace prepares to fight himself. I'll show you what it really means. To be born with superior blood, he roars, unleashing a torrent of energy. A massive wave of spiritual energy, shaped like ghostly hands and faces, hurtles towards Derek. Facing the overwhelming attack, Derek simply smirks. Channel void, he commands. An immense burst of purple void energy erupts from Derek's body. Derek's power easily parts Wallace's attack, creating a clear path through the turquoise energy. In an instant, Derek closes the distance and grabs Wallace by the throat, lifting him into the air. Gasping for air, the terrified Wallace pleads for his life. I get it. I'll leave, you'll never see me again. Derek looks at the pathetic nobleman with a cold, mocking smile. You're right, he says. I won't. He tightens his grip, choking the life out of Wallace. As the life drains from his eyes, Wallace chokes out a final gurgled plea. Please. But before Derek can deliver the final blow, a frantic shout erupts from the crowd. Drop him or the old man dies. Another voice yells, let him go. Derek pauses, his cold gaze shifting toward the commotion. The commotion is revealed to be a hostage situation. The blonde noblewoman holds Richard captive, her hand glowing with fire. Richard pleads, please, Derek, these people are nobles, their deaths aren't worth it. The old man continues, his voice filled with fear for his village. The punishment for killing nobles is severe. Derek remains silent, his expression cold and unreadable as he assesses the situation. The noblewoman mocks Derek, sneering, that's right, do as you're told, you dog. With tears in his eyes, Richard delivers his final, desperate plea. Please, the entire village could be held complicit and put to death. The noblewoman screams her demand one last time. Drop Wallace now. But her threat is cut short as a blood-soaked sword bursts through her chest. She lets out a cry of pain, awe. Her attacker is revealed to be the wounded village chieftain, Chief Leon. As she chokes, he holds her up and defiantly says, let them try. Chief Leon lets the noblewoman's body slump to the ground, declaring with conviction, a chieftain protects his people. With the hostage threat eliminated, Derek turns his full attention back to the terrified Wallace, still held in his grasp. Derek looks down at the noble and asks, seemingly willing to negotiate, if I let you go, will you swear there will be no retaliation against this village? Desperate and crying, Wallace immediately grunts in agreement. Why, yes, I swear it, please. Derek gives a slight, almost imperceptible nod. Good, he says calmly, in that case. With a brutal, lightning-fast motion, Derek snaps Wallace's neck. Richard watches in absolute horror, his hopes crumbling as he gasps, no, he didn't. As Wallace's lifeless body falls, the full weight of Derek's actions crashes down on Richard. He has doomed us. Derek stands over the corpse amidst the burning village, holding his hand up as if inspecting it. Whoops, he says with chilling indifference. My hand slipped. Following the intense battle, an injured noblewoman with a long braided ponytail lies on the ground, seemingly unconscious. The light shines down on her, highlighting the blood on her face, a grim testament to the recent violence. A figure steps in. It's Derek. He gently lifts the noblewoman's head, his expression unreadable amidst the chaotic backdrop of the burning village. Without a word, Derek lifts the noblewoman into his arms. He holds her securely as he prepares to move from the scene of the battle. Derek carries the woman through the smoldering village. The remaining villagers can only watch in silence, whispering amongst themselves as he passes, their faces a mixture of fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, two villagers, an older bald man and a younger man with a beard named Richard, are in despair. The older man is on the ground, defeated. Richard urges him, on your feet, Richard. But the old man can only lament. He's truly doomed us all, referring to Derek's drastic actions. A young man with light brown hair stands among the crowd, his face stoic as he watches the events unfold. The villagers behind him look on with wide-eyed shock and fear. The villagers watch as Derek carries the noblewoman through a large arched doorway, disappearing into the light. His shadow looms long on the ground before them, a symbol of his heavy presence in their lives now. Putting aside his despair, Richard helps the old man up, a new resolve in his eyes. He yells out to the stunned onlookers, "What's everyone just standing around for, huh? We've got some cleaning up to do." It seems despair is a luxury they can't afford. Spurred into action by Richard's words, the villagers begin the grim task of cleaning up the debris and evidence of the fight. From a distance, the whole village is a scene of quiet, organized activity. Under the lingering smoke, everyone methodically works to erase the signs of the massacre that just took place. The scene shifts to inside the village chief's residence. Derek has laid the injured noblewoman on a chaise lounge by the fireplace and now sits watching over her. The noblewoman lies peacefully, her face illuminated by the crackling fire. She seems stable for now, resting under a thick, warm blanket. Derek sits beside her, a quiet guardian in the warm, fire-lit room. He appears calm, but a storm of system notifications is about to ruin his day. He lets out a long sigh, and as if on cue, a flurry of blue system windows pop up in front of him with an electronic ding. Staring at the multiple level UP notifications and EXP gains from killing human warriors, Derek is visibly annoyed. Damn it, he thinks. There goes my plan to do all those low-level dungeons with Thomas. Apparently, mass-murdering nobles comes with inconvenient, unscheduled power-ups. He groans in frustration, clutching his head. I've got to be the first person ever to be mad about leveling up, the struggles of being too efficient for his own good. His expression softens for a moment as a name comes to mind. Derek. A flicker of a memory, or perhaps just him calling himself out on his own absurdity. Just then the noblewoman stirs. She lifts her head, her voice weak as she asks with urgency, "The village." Derek calmly turns to her and reassures her with two simple words. Is safe. Overcome with relief, the woman collapses back onto the chaise lounge with a soft whump. She whispers, "Thank you." Derek shrugs it off with a cheerful yet sociopathic denial. What are you thanking me for? I didn't even do anything. He waves his hand dismissively, adding, "They all spontaneously died. It was weird. I mean, first they were alive, then they weren't." A perfectly normal, not at all suspicious explanation. Her relief instantly turns to horror. She grabs Derek's arm with surprising strength, her eyes wide with panic. "They were nobles, Derek," she says, the gravity of the situation dawning on her. She looks at him, her voice trembling with fear. "This is serious. If someone learns what happened here, the entire village." Derek simply smiles, his expression calm and collected. He gently takes her hand in his. "Then we won't let anyone find out," he says, as if planning a surprise party instead of a massacre cover-up. He continues smoothly, laying out the foundation of his plan. "Besides, I already have an idea of what we ought to do. You just have to make sure everyone in the village keeps their mouths shut." He leans back, adding a chillingly casual threat. "Shouldn't be too hard considering they know what happens if they don't." And with that, the stage is set for the entire village to become accomplices. The village chief, Leon, leads a group of key villagers, including Richard, into the residence. He calls out, "All right, everyone inside." The cover-up operation is moving to its next phase. Leon reports to Derek, who stands by the fireplace. "The corpses of the nobles are piled in the next room, out of sight just like you asked, and we've rounded up their carriage drivers. We made them swear oaths to the great system not to speak of this." Derek gives a slight nod. "Good, thank you, Leon," he adds nonchalantly. "I'll put them in my storage bracelet after this, because where else would you store a pile of inconvenient bodies?" Leon, filled with anxiety, slumps into a chair. "What are we to do now, Derek? I know I have no right to chastise you, Rain'd be dead if you hadn't stepped in, but I can't see a way for us to get out of this mess." Sweating and full of regret, Leon laments, "If you just listen to me and let him live." But Derek calmly cuts him off. "Don't worry, Leon." Derek stands before them, the picture of confidence. "I have a plan," he announces, "but I can't do it alone. I'll need the help of everyone in this room." The assembled villagers, Leon, Richard, and Derek's young apprentices, listen with grim expressions, understanding the weight of his words. Derek's gaze intensifies. "No," he corrects himself, "I'll need the help of everyone in the entire village. The conspiracy is going community-wide." Outside, the cleanup continues. The villagers work together, carrying away the wounded and clearing the debris, their faces set with grim determination as they enact the first stage of Derek's plan. Back inside, Derek questions Richard. "Richard, how long do you think we have until the noble house or adventurers guild comes to check on things?" Richard, looking stressed, replies, It's tough to say for sure. It could be anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. I see," Derek says, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "We're just going to have to hope it's a few weeks then." He concludes with a decisive "all right." The scene shifts to a village meeting. The noblewoman, now recovered, stands on a wooden platform with Leon and Richard, addressing the crowd. She begins, "First, we have to hold a village meeting and make sure everyone in the entire village understands what's at stake." She lays out the fabricated story with conviction. The story is that the nobles came in, got the map from Richard, and then left for the dungeon. "That's it," she declares, facing the crowd. "They were barely even in the village. A simple, clean alibi." Later, Derek speaks to a dejected Richard. "Sorry, but you'll be losing your map, Richard." He frames it as a necessary sacrifice. "A small price if it keeps the village safe." Derek then addresses the small group again, his tone serious. "Next, I'm going to need oaths from everyone in this room." A concerned villager with a beard looks shocked. An oath from the great system, whatever for, he asks, confused and wary. Derek explains, gesturing to his blonde-haired apprentice. It would be the same oath that Thomas took before we began traveling together, that you won't tell anyone my secrets unless I allow it. The boy, Thomas, nods in confirmation. The bearded villager firmly refuses. I'm sorry, Derek, but I cannot swear an oath. He elaborates, I know you are honorable, but I will not put myself in that situation. I have seen what they can do to people. The village chief, Leon, speaks up as well, echoing the sentiment. I will if I must, but I would prefer not to swear any oaths either. The two elders of the village are united in their mistrust of system oaths. Breaking the stalemate, Richard looks towards where the noblewoman is resting and asks Derek the crucial question. If I swear it, will you keep the village safe? Derek meets his gaze, his expression deadly serious. To the best of my ability, he promises. Hearing this, Richard makes his decision. Then I'll do it. A woman named Mallory steps forward with a younger girl, Brandy. I don't need to swear an oath to safeguard the secrets of my friends, she says with conviction. But if you ask me to, I will do it. Then Raina, a young girl with fiery red hair, jumps in with enthusiasm. Me too, she exclaims. If Thomas did it, then so can I. Her loyalty is absolute and unquestioning. Derek looks at his three loyal apprentices, his expression softening. Mallory, Brandy, Raina, thank you, he says, genuinely grateful for their unwavering trust. Derek turns to the two hesitant elders. Leon, Richard, I understand, thank you anyway. You can still stay and listen for now. He respects their decision, but the plan moves forward regardless. A brilliant blue light flashes as a system window appears with a great FWOOSH. It confirms the oath has been made. Raina West, Brandy Fields, and Mallory Fields have sworn oaths to the great system. These oaths are binding until death. There's no turning back now. The noblewoman who has been watching the drama unfold from her comfortable position on the chaise lounge smirks. So, she purrs, what's the plan? Derek gives her a confident, knowing smile, a golden glow appearing behind him. I'm glad you asked, he says. It's story time. He begins to weave his tale, illustrated like an ancient scroll. After graciously receiving the map from Richard, Mr. Noble Gracefall led his team to the level 100 dungeon. The made-up name is a nice touch, adding a layer of heroic flair. The story depicts Gracefall and his valiant team of nobles, looking every bit the part of righteous heroes on a quest. A magical blue seal flashes. Thanks to their valiant efforts, the overflow of the dungeon was stopped. A mural shows the heroes fighting off skeletal monsters, and with proper control, the disease will stop spreading. A clever addition to explain away any lingering weirdness. But the heroic tale takes a tragic yet convenient turn. Unfortunately, his team was wiped out in the dungeon, and he suffered a fatal wound from the boss. A perfectly blameless end for the party. The story continues. Gracefall barely escaped, but he bled out and died before he was able to receive aid. His final noble thoughts, at least, the village is saved. The fairy tale concludes with the image of the fallen hero, resting peacefully on a bed of flowers, bathed in a holy golden light. He gave the ultimate sacrifice and died a hero. The scene snaps back to reality. Derek stands there, scratching the back of his head with a smug, almost wicked grin. Or, at least, that's what all the investigations will say after my plan. The heroic story was nothing but a complete fabrication. The entire room falls into a stunned, deafening silence. The villagers, the chief, his apprentices, and even the recently amused noblewoman can only stare, their minds trying to process the sheer audacity of the lie they just heard. The silence is shattered as everyone, from the apprentices to the noblewoman, erupts in a collective, synchronized shout of disbelief. What? Derek gathered his party. Is everyone packed? He asked, giving them a final once-over. We won't be back to the village for several days, so make sure you aren't forgetting anything. Raina, ever the pragmatist, voiced her confusion. Yes, but I still don't understand why we're going to the level 50 beast dungeon. Shouldn't we be going to the level 101 that Gracefall supposedly died at? A confident smile played on Derek's lips. We will once you're all a little bit stronger. He then added, giving them an out. Again, if you don't want to join me, you don't have to. I'm more than capable of doing this on my own. But Derek continued, his voice persuasive as they stood before the village gates. This is a great opportunity for you all to grow in strength and get rare rewards. I highly recommend you join. Derek's gaze drifted towards Mallory as a thought crossed his mind. Plus, there are some things I want to test, from what I've seen so far of this new system. He continued his internal monologue. The experiences someone has before leveling to Class 1 play a big role in what classes they're offered. If I'm right, she could be offered something incredibly special. Reina, however, was still stuck on the logistics. So, what? We're going to go into lower-level dungeons and clear them while you wait, she demanded, her brows furrowed in confusion. I don't understand why. Derek just gave her a cheeky wink. Just trust me, he said smoothly. You'll understand soon enough. Reina pressed on. Will I have to hand feed? Derek cut her off, already starting to walk. No, I'll hand feed you all for these ones. We still need to move relatively fast. Without another word, Derek suddenly scooped up a startled Mallory. All right, everyone, she yelped, caught completely off guard. Mallory found herself perched on Derek's back, her face a mask of pure confusion as he grinned, ready to run. Why do you always insist on running everywhere? Mallory shrieked as Derek broke into a sprint. The rest of the party scrambled to keep up as he yelled back, "Let's go!" And so the bizarre caravan set off, with Derek carrying a protesting Mallory, and the others trailing behind as they raced down the sun-drenched path. Their mad dash led them through the wilderness until they reached their destination, the level 50 Beast dungeon entrance. Panting and gasping for air, the party finally caught up to a perfectly composed Derek. With Mallory still on his back, he pointed towards a glowing portal across a rope bridge. All right, we're here. As they crossed the precarious bridge, it started to wobble. Reina snapped at Thomas, "Stop doing that!" But Thomas cried out in terror, "I can't, my legs feel like jelly." Once they were safely across, Derek let Mallory down and turned to the group, a mysterious energy swirling around him. You all swore an oath not to reveal my secrets. Now it's time you found out why. A system interface materialized before them, and Derek's hand reached out, tapping and manipulating the glowing blue screen. The screen displayed the party's information. Max participants, 5-5. The names and levels were listed. Derek Hunt, level 30, Thomas Stewart, level 17, Reina West, level 31, Brandy Fields, level 1, and Mallory Fields, level 18. Reina's eyes went wide with disbelief. How are you only level 30? She exclaimed, utterly baffled. Your level is lower than mine. That doesn't make any sense. Derek chuckled, a sly grin on his face. One of my biggest secrets, see why I wanted an oath? Reina, now more amazed than confused, replied, I do. This is crazy. You have to tell me how. Derek simply said, maybe one day for now. We have a dungeon to run. With that, the energy portal flared to life, its light shining as the system announced their entry. A countdown began, ticking away the final seconds before their teleportation. 3, 2, 1. With a great FWOSH. The scenery dissolved, and the party found themselves transported to a new, unfamiliar location inside the dungeon. After entering the dungeon, Derek found a small, defensible building to use as a temporary base. He peeked through the doorway to check on his team. Gathering everyone inside the newly established safe house, Derek laid out his plan. All right, here's what we're gonna do. He explained with a Chiba-style reenactment. I'll go outside and beat a bunch of monsters to an inch of their life. Then, the Chiba Derek continued, dragging a line of bruised and bandaged monsters. I'll bring them back here for Thomas and Mallory to finish off. Derek then gave specific instructions. Mallory, I suggest looking at all your class upgrade options once you hit level 25. He turned to Thomas. Thomas, you know what you're going to do, right? I don't need to say it. Thomas thought to himself with grim satisfaction. No more dagger class. Perfect. Next was Reina's turn. Reina, you should be strong enough to fight outside with me, Derek stated, as a tiny, fierce Reina was shown expertly dispatching a large wolf creature in their imagination. But if you have any problems, he added, providing a safety net, flee back to the safe house, and I'll do the same for you as I'm doing for Thomas and Mallory. The imagined scenario showed a panicked Reina being chased back to safety. Mallory, not wanting to be left out, eagerly raised her hand. What about me? Derek paused, turning to her. You. He looked at her with a straight face and delivered the crushing news. "We'll do nothing." Mallory's world came crashing down. Derek quickly clarified, "Except practice on a whole lot of hides." Mallory's despair instantly transformed into pure ecstasy. "YESSU," she screamed, imagining herself joyfully skinning a mountain of monster pelts. Before they could start, Derek held up a hand. "Before we begin, Mallory," she looked at him questioningly. "Yes," he pointed at her simple staff. "Is that the best weapon you have?" Mallory sighed. "Well, yeah, my class is common and weapons weren't easy to come by in the village." She explained the unfair system. All of the strong warriors were given the better weapons and the rest of us got, well, the rest. A familiar blue glow enveloped Derek's arm as he prepared to access his personal inventory. With a loud dump, Derek emptied a vast collection of high-grade weapons onto the floor. "Pick a new one, I've got plenty." Mallory could only stare, completely shocked. What in the world? The entire team was stunned by the sheer volume of quality gear. "So many," Mallory murmured, picking up a new weapon. "How do you even have all of these?" Derek gave a dismissive, cool guy shrug. "Oh, just collected them over the years. Never really used any of them, though." He selected a sleek, modern-looking spear from the pile and offered it to Mallory. "Here, try this one out. It's similar to what you've used in the past, but a bit more versatile and much higher quality." Derek demonstrated its special feature. Press the button on the side to extend and retract blades from it. With a series of pew-pew sounds, blades shot out from the spear, startling everyone in the room. Mallory simply said, "Oh, wow." Seeing all the new toys, Thomas got greedy and tried to snatch a few for himself, muttering, "Take some daggers too, just in case." But Derek was having none of it. Thomas began to ask, "Can I also have some dag?" before Derek leaned in with a death glare. "You really want to ask that question?" he said menacingly. "You get a spear." With the team newly equipped, it was time for action. "All right, Raina, you ready?" Derek asked. Standing beside him, weapon in hand, she replied with a determined, "Ready." The two of them stepped out of the safe house and onto the dungeon floor. The moment they were outside, the ground shook with a sense of impending doom as a horde of massive, demonic-looking beasts with glowing red eyes charged towards them. The air filled with terrifying growls and snorts as the stampede of red, bull-like monsters drew closer, their eyes glowing with demonic energy. Despite the overwhelming odds, Derek simply grinned, a wild look in his eyes. He turned to the determined Raina beside him and declared, "This is gonna be fun." The ground itself seemed to tremble as the stampede of demonic beasts thundered towards the two lone figures. With a mighty swoosh, Derek and Raina met the charge head-on, their bodies wreathed in powerful auras as they plunged into the fray. With a sickening thonk, Derek's fist connected with a monster's skull, his raw power on full display. Back at the safe house, Derek cleared his throat within a hum. At his feet, a thoroughly beaten monster, drool leaking from its mouth, let out a confused and pathetic grrraww. An almost evil grin spread across Thomas's face as he charged up a ball of energy. "Say hello to my little friend," he whispered to the terrified, whimpering monster. Their plan went into full effect. Inside the safe house, Thomas and Mallory efficiently finished off the weakened monsters Derek brought them. Outside, Raina fought with deadly grace, holding her own against the powerful beasts. It was a symphony of strategic slaughter. As the sun began to set, Derek sat triumphantly on a pile of monster corpses. "I think that about does it," he said, looking over at his companion. "Nice work, Raina." The final monsters were dispatched with brutal efficiency, their bodies being stabbed and sliced for that last bit of experience. A brilliant flash of light enveloped Thomas and Mallory. "I hit level 25, Thomas shouted in disbelief. Mallory, glowing beside him, was equally emotional. "Me too, I never thought I'd see the day." Derek clapped his hands together, a proud smile on his face. "Wonderful. Now go through all of your class upgrade or class change options and think them through." As Thomas eagerly pulled up the system menu, Derek appeared behind him like a ghost. "Thoroughly, Thomas." Thomas, not taking his eyes off the screen, replied with a smirk. I know. Thomas suddenly gasped, his eyes wide with shock and excitement. "I got offered a rare class," he exclaimed. "It's called Soul Spear." An image of a sleek, armored warrior filled his vision. "It focuses on piercing damage," he read, and allows me to thrust a projection like an extension of my spear. But Thomas's excitement faded, replaced by a deep sadness. But he hesitated, his eyes welling up as a single word escaped his lips. Dad. Mallory noticed his distress and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. It's okay, Thomas, she said softly, offering a reassuring nod. He'll always be with you, even if you don't have the same class. Mallory then shared her own results. I don't have a rare, but I do have an uncommon growth-type class. It's called Ohm's Fury. She described its abilities over an image of a powerful, Oni-masked warrior. It's focused on strength and endurance and using crushing blows with my staff. It's a growth class. I can't not pick it right. Watching them, Derek couldn't help but smile. He thought to himself, this is going even better than I thought. Everyone is progressing nicely. He looked at his team, all of them taking their first real steps towards power. Sometimes all it takes for someone to thrive is a bit of outside help. With his mentees occupied, Derek decided to check his own status. He pulled up his system window and began to wonder. I wonder how many levels he stopped short, surprised by what he saw. Huh. A massive notification flashed in front of him amidst a storm of purple energy. Level 25 reached. Please choose new class or upgrade current class. A realization dawned on him. That's right. I reached level 25 back when I killed the nobles. A vortex of dark, void-like energy swirled from his chest as the full implication hit him. A grin spread across his face. I can upgrade my class too.